Hey, welcome to the Spotcast, episode 4, everybody. Hopefully you can all hear us. Please, in the chat, let us know if you can hear us. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Spotcast, episode 4. It is that time again, and we are here to entertain you and talk about some video gaming, culture, topics, and whatever else we feel like. So, tonight, we're gonna kind of just kind of get right on into it. I appreciate everybody in the chat so far. I can see that we have 15 viewers on Twitch. I do not know how many viewers we have on YouTube right now, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So anyway, let's get into some introductions here. We have our co-hosts here. We have Kainitsu. Just give us a quick update as to what you've been doing and what's going on lately in the last couple of weeks.
Not too much of anything too different. I'm still working on a project that I started like a month ago, which is going to be for my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth video. But hopefully I'll have it done over the weekend and it'll be up sometime next week. Other than that, that's all I've really just been doing. Just trying to make sure we're having things set up and getting things ready for the podcast and helping out on the server and editing some stuff together and all of that. So yeah, that's all I've really been up to the last couple of weeks.
Nice. And we also have our co-host True Villain, the one and only Villain. How's it been going? What does your last 2 weeks look like?
Blizzards and being off work and catching up on work, which is what I've been basically doing all week since we missed like 3 days. Just playing video games, same old. So we've been super busy. I'm coming in this podcast super hot, so like I've literally been home for about an hour, so it's just been one of them kind of weeks. But other than that, man, like I said, just chilling, playing video games, which we'll get into here in a second. So
yeah, definitely. I did hear that you guys got hit pretty hard down there, down in the south in terms of blizzards. I saw a lot of pictures of snow on the beach, which I'm used to up here in New York, but yeah, it's very, very interesting to see that down south where it's not typical. So
yeah, my family they live in Florida, and they were sending me. They had like 3 inches on the beach, which was just wild to see. So
yeah,
they were having. It didn't hit up here as bad where I live. I don't live in Florida, thankfully. But yeah, so it hit pretty bad down there. But it wasn't too bad here. But there was too much ice to really be driving around, so we all got to stay home. So.
That's nice. That's cool. Yeah, I always love a snow day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like that one also, Villain. I'm also in the southeast. We didn't get anything hit by the last one or the last storm through. I'm a little bit too far north for that one, but man, we got that cold. It's been awful. I hate it.
I love it, dude. I love the cold. I love it way more than the heat because we get the humidity, the mosquitoes. It's horrible, and I just hate it so much. And I got the northern blood, so I like the I like the cold. But you can't make me cold. I will,
Yeah, I get. I'm alone in this one. You two are both thrive in that weather. I mean, I literally am born and raised in the South, bro, in the Bible Belt. So cold is
it's
not.
Warm down there.
Warm, dude. It's basically torture. I mean, it should be illegal for people to have to live like this, quite honestly, but we make it happen somehow. So
modern air conditioning is the only reason why people are allowed to live down there.
Dude, my power bill is like $400 a month in the summertime because I keep my house at like 62 degrees at all times.
Wow.
Dude, I bought this like really expensive air conditioner unit, and but it's great, and I have really good insulation, and it's a fucking refrigerator in the summertime in here. It's great.
Yeah, it's a little crazy being that dependent on air conditioning just for like normal comfort in life. So I don't know.
Yeah, my British friends, they don't even have AC there. They don't know what. They know what it is.
They had those heat waves, and they can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not built. Yeah. They're built different over there.
Yeah, different.
It's kind of funny. They
one word
they
for
call us burgers, and they basically say like all of our houses are made out of like cardboard, and everyone has a huge air conditioning in every room. It's like it's sort of true. Sort of true.
It is very true. It's very true. Yeah.
There's some truth to it. We do kind of live in cheap
people
cardboard houses.
Yeah, a lot of people down here use window units too, and I don't know how the hell they get by with window units.
Well, that's because
guy.
I mean, I have a window unit, sir.
That's because. Well, hey, I don't know how you do it. I'm just saying, I don't know how you do it.
It's just because, like, with certain homes and buildings, they don't have it. And they have like I don't even have like I live in like
older buildings,
in a weird I live in a weird place. So I actually live like in an old kind of like colonial home.
Yeah, it's probably old.
And yeah, and it's like a manor. It was split up. It's been split up into apartments.
A manor.
Yeah,
Kai was the whole ass fucking mansion, homie.
What's next?
I didn't realize we were talking to a sir. Pinky out, everybody.
You never knew. No.
Dude, Mitsu.
Oh my god.
No, man. It's been broken up into apartments. It's just a really big house, but it's apartments. But since it's such an old building, and it's also like a historic building, they can't make too many modifications. Yeah. So I got some window unit for air and heat. So I don't have central air and heat, and that's how it is for like a lot of places in the South for weird reason.
Yeah, we have a lot of trailer parks around here too, and they all use window.
That makes sense also because they're trailers. Yeah. they don't have that type of.
You're not going to build out an actual like HVAC unit that's outside the house like that. Like
some of them have them. Some of the nicer ones, but the one I lived in as a kid, we didn't.
The double wide ones that are more like a home, but not quite like a house. Those tend to have more central air and heat.
People here put double wides on foundations and act like they're houses. Like it's pretty wild. We lived in a single wide for a while, and we had window units, so I nearly died. I almost wasn't on this podcast because I was dead. So when we first moved here from Washington, I didn't know what mosquitoes were. I was like, "What the fuck are these things in the air?" Like I remember getting out of the car and there were these little fucking bugs buzzing around. I was like, "What the fuck are those?"
Yeah, man, you in the South, bro. You in the wild, bro.
Yeah, we didn't have mosquitoes. We had flies and stuff, but you rarely saw them. And we didn't have mosquitoes. So
yeah, like I said, I basically grew up in the country, like not rural, but close, pretty close.
Yeah, I always had 4 seasons where I grew up here in New York. So we always had stupid hot summers, stupid cold winters, and amazing falls and amazing springs. So I can't see myself leaving this area.
Yeah, we have 2 here.
The Game of Thrones weather is crazy. The blizzards in the South is crazy. But I'm glad that everyone's okay. I mean, obviously, I saw a lot of videos of people, not knowing how to drive in snowy and icy conditions, which is funny to us up here in the north, but it is what it is. But anyway, I want to keep us going here. As far as I'm concerned, is what I've been doing. I've been just grinding like crazy, trying to get things going with the community. We've been doing a lot of stuff with Marvel Rivals, obviously. And yeah, it's just been a grind every day. So I'm not going to waste too much of your guys' time with stuff that I've been doing. But let's get into some of the games that we've been playing over the last couple of weeks. If we'll start the rotation over again. We'll start with Kai. Kai, what games have you been playing for the last couple of weeks here?
Honestly, not much of anything. I've mostly been focused on my project.
If you want to talk about the project a little bit instead of the games, that's fine. You could do that.
No. It's just I
want to plug it.
I haven't played anything.
Plug it.
The only thing that I've really played has been Bloodborne. It's gonna be much more about my topic. But I mean, I could talk forever about that game.
Me too.
It's definitely. It's honestly probably my favorite from software game.
Well, there might be one really cool thing. I don't know if you were going to bring this up in your topic, and I do apologize if it was a topic that you were going to, like a subtopic, but there was a cool thing that you told us about earlier in the week about how you can convert your actual PlayStation 1 saves to the emulator. You said PSX saves you were using for to use the Final Fantasy 7, the actual original OG Final Fantasy 7 and the the equivalent versions and the remakes. That was pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really going to talk about it, to be honest, but but yeah, no.
Okay. I just thought it was a cool little factoid. I didn't know if that's something cool to throw out there.
Yeah, no, I don't mind talking about it if you want me to. But
yeah, it's game preservation, so.
Yeah. So I didn't know this was a thing, and I did this with my last video for the remake of Final Fantasy VII, and so how I actually got footage for that video and how I'm going to be making comparisons for this video is that I found a bunch of like PlayStation files that were saved that someone just made like major saves for like big parts of the story, and it's made it super easy just to go and like find what I needed real quick and go and record what I wanted. Just been pretty nice. And again, there was a conversion tool you can use called Black Chocobo. And with that, you can do a lot more than just like convert your video or your PS1 your PS1 save files to a PC save file, because that's also what I had to do to be able to use them. But with Black Chocobo, if you wanted to, it's just basically like it's basically like a trainer in a sense. Like you can give yourself like infinite gil, you can give yourself like max out stats, you can have all the limit breaks, you can be like level 99 right off the bat if you want to. You can have like all Sephiroths in your party if you wanted to. You can do some pretty wacky stuff with Black Chocobo, but it was pretty cool finding out that I could do that, and again just made what I wanted to find a whole lot easier than just trying to play through an entire other RPG just to get some footage for like 5 seconds. So
yeah, that's really cool. I thought that was really neat that you were able to use that and be able to like use that for your content. So I thought that was a pretty neat thing.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, man, I love anything that has to do with like game preservation, or even like if there was a way to like save all like my previous game states that I've had over the last almost 40 years now. I would love to like just preserve as much as I can. So
right,
but
you'd be surprised that like you can actually transfer like a lot of old data from like, I mean, if you have all the right tools and stuff, obviously. Like
exactly.
PlayStation 1 cards and PlayStation 2 cards, and you can like if you I think you could actually do this if you had like your saves from a PS3 or a 360 on like a flash card or something. You'd use those to port it over. But yeah, it is nice now that there's like cloud saving for a lot of stuff. But I get what you're saying, like more for like anything that isn't being able to carry over or something like that. Be able to have that available to you and using other tools to be able to use it is a nice thing.
Yeah, I mean, and I love like open sourcing stuff like that too. So that way, like give the power to the people, kind of thing. Let people be able to take those tools, dump all their save files. Like I still have VMUs for my Dreamcast. In fact, talking about emulation, Dreamcast emulation scene has been popping off. You saw the GTA 3 Impossible port that happened. That was crazy. But yeah.
Dreamcast has some pretty cool stuff. And out of all of my classic consoles, the only one that seemed to stay with me is my Dreamcast.
I love the Dreamcast.
And a VMU.
I have it has such a special place in my heart. It was my first real Sega system too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a Genesis. I was a Super Nintendo kid on my block. I played Genesis. I didn't need it because you just go across the street to your friend's house to play it. But I had the Super Nintendo. My neighbor had the Genesis. They had the Game Gear. I had the Game Boy. It was just like a neighborhood kid rivalry thing. You stick with one brand, they stick with another. But like, I never got a Sega Saturn. So my actual first real Sega console was a Dreamcast, and that was a very, very special console. $99.99. I remember that day very vividly.
Me too. There was a question of it in the server in the champ chat. And it was like, when did the Dreamcast get released? And I was like,
oh yeah,
well, that's right. Well, which one are we talking about? Like, which release? Because like, I'm like, obviously, $99.99 is the one that you can remember for sure. But it technically released in '98 first in Japan.
In Japan, right? Yeah. It almost released a whole year later.
Yeah,
it's before. It's from long time ago when there wasn't global releases for consoles and games. Jeez, man.
Back when I was a
child. I feel like I should be warning you about the ring and everything. But yeah, so there's just so much. There's so much. I want to definitely talk a lot more about emulation. I think later on in your topic, we'll really kind of open the floodgates in terms of like, just like what emulation means for us. Yeah,
Mhm.
because like, you know, I'll save all the thunder for your topic because I know this is something you want to talk about.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of agreement with you, and I really do feel like this is going to be a strong topic. So I'm excited to talk about it. But
Hell yeah.
Villain, have you? We know you've been degenerate in Baldur's Gate 3. Is that all you've been doing the last 2 weeks since you've been in the snow day world?
No. So no. I don't know why you had to ask me like that. But I have been playing Baldur's Gate on the stream, but I won't go on about that any more than I already have. I did start back up because I never played the second one. I did start up because I wanted to replay it. Spider-Man PS4 on the PS5 because I never played Spider-Man 2, like I said. So I'm just playing through that again. It's a real cozy, fun game. One thing I realized this time around, because I really liked it the first time, but every side quest in this game sucks. Like every side activity, every side quest, every side anything in this game is dog shit. They either don't make any sense, they're quests that are just like some random NPC with bad voice acting, like, oh no, you go save this balloon from a tree for my kid, it's horrible. And it's so bad. And I honestly think that this game is kind of more like a 7 out of 10 than like the 9 that even I gave it back in the day.
Wow.
So I'm really hoping that like Spider-Man 2 they fix a lot of that and make it a lot better, because this one, I mean, the story is really good still. Like just mainlining it is fun. I'm skipping a lot of the side stuff. But that's been really interesting, but kind of fun, to kick back on the couch, and because I've been sitting at my computer playing Baldur's Gate for, I think I'm at like 100 hours now. And then my like before bed game has become Unicorn Overlord. I started it over because I decided I was gonna beat it or play it, and I got in there and I was like, I don't remember any of you fucks. Like
just start over.
Yeah, so I was like, I wasn't that far. I was probably like 15 hours into it.
Totally acceptable.
And I had all these people like, Elaine, hey, what's up? I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you are. I know that I saved you. I know this, and this, but I don't know who you are. And it's fun. I mean, I enjoy the game. I don't get the hype behind it yet. Maybe it'll come later. Like for
There's
me,
no hype for the game. The game has
like
no
a
hype.
fun-
No one's hyping the game.
Okay, well,
It's
then
just
I
a
get
good
it.
game.
Then.
It's just a good game.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. It's just I've heard you go on about it. I've heard a lot of people kind of go on about it, and it is fun. Like I enjoy it. It's just like it's a great like before bed. Play a couple fights and then pass out.
It's really the genre. It's a lost genre. That genre of game used to be a lot more prevalent, primarily in Japanese markets. But Ogre Battle was a huge one. Ogre Battle 64 was one of the biggest, most anticipated games on the Nintendo 64 in the 90s, and Unicorn Overlord actually is a spiritual successor to like Ogre Battle, almost to the T. It does it better in some ways. In some ways it doesn't, but I think mostly it does. So you have to have an appreciation for like that older style of game, but the fact that it's like a real time strategy, with the whole overworld map, and you actually have to fight out those battles in real time, and it adds a totally different element than like something like Fire Emblem or something like that, where it's like completely grid based and stuff. So, I'm
enjoying it. I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty, because of course
it's so good. It's so good.
And it's fun, like getting the units and setting them up and figuring out like which ones fight which, and all that good stuff. So that's basically
infinite combinations. So you'll have
I think that's
tons of time.
That's basically all I've been playing, though. I think I don't think there's anything else. I mean, I've been plucking around on Age of Wonders, but I'm not really going to talk about that here because not much to talk about anymore. So, yeah.
I unfortunately am a bad gamer, and I've been playing Marvel Rivals almost incessantly over the last 2 weeks. Primarily, the primary vector and reason why that's been happening is because it's been so popular with community game night. So
it has.
So I kind of have to play it outside of community game night so I don't suck. But yeah, so I'm almost I think I captained already on my proficiency for Invisible Woman. So I think I played I think I've won 100 matches with her or something like that. I've unlocked a whole bunch of different special stuff that you unlock when you like prestige the character. So doing okay on that front. I just am enjoying Marvel Rivals for like the community aspect of it. Is it the best game ever? No. Is it an Overwatch killer? Probably. The fact of the matter is that it's just captive. We were talking about it last night in community night. Like, the game just came at the right place and the right time. It filled like a vacuum. Everyone was itching for a new game to play. You know, Fortnite has Godzilla, which I did play. I did play as Godzilla. I have a clip of that. I was gonna show it on. I was gonna show it on the podcast, but I won't. I won't do a selfish plug like that. But either way, like, that's what Fortnite has, and then Marvel Rivals comes along and just has this amazing, you know, hero shooter. Everyone's just like having a blast playing it. It's great with friends. It just feels, it is giving everyone like nostalgic vibes of like back in the day when video games were just fucking fun. That's what Marvel, that's the kind of thing that Marvel Rivals is capturing right now. Does Marvel Rivals have legs to keep going? Is Marvel Rivals gonna be around in a year? We'll see. I don't know. I definitely think it'll be around for a year. I've seen a lot of doomers say, "Oh, it's gonna be you're not gonna be talking about Rivals in 3 months from now." I'm like, I don't know about that. I think that's a little optimistic on their end, but yeah. So I've been playing that. I'm probably gonna continue to play that. I still have to beat my Dragon Quest 3. I'm like literally at the end. I plan on streaming that this weekend. I was gonna do it this week, but I had too much stuff going on, plus all the podcast prep. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing in terms of gaming. Is just kind of grinding out Marvel Rivals, and yeah,
Nice.
having a fun time though. I'm not really complaining about it. I mean, I see a lot of memes too and a lot of content out there. It's kind of funny. It's also created a lot of content for us on all of our socials and stuff. So it's been pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. But yeah, so let's if we're wrapping up that segment here, I think we can kind of get into some of our topics here. We're making good time. So I think we're going to start with my topic, which is going to be what did we talk about last episode? So last episode happened on January 10th. And at that time, we were still in Leak Land, right?
Leak Land.
We didn't necessarily, we were in Leak Land. Nothing was officially revealed by Nintendo. Yeah.
It's taking us on a journey.
Exactly. At the end of our last episode, there was no official reveal of the Switch 2. We've been talking about it, what's possibly real from these leaks and what's not real. Evidently, everything that we knew from the leaks was real. Nintendo actually went ahead and revealed the Switch 2 exactly when one of the leakers, Nate the Hate, shout out to him, said it would, which was funny. That was a whole little saga too, and I'll talk about that real quick. So, and I don't know if you guys saw my Twitter and how much everyone was sweating, but so the way that the way the leak came out, it said that Nintendo would make an announcement revealing the Switch 2 on January 16th, which is also the same day they were releasing that Donkey Kong Country HD remake on the same day. Everyone's like, this is weird. Nintendo doesn't do stuff like that. You know, when they release a game, they're usually 100% about marketing that game. You know, it's their first party shit. Or is Donkey Kong considered second party? I'm not sure. But either way,
It's first party.
yeah, I thought so. But either way, you know, you have Nintendo going so gung-ho about Donkey Kong Country, and then someone's like, yeah, they're just going to shadow drop the Switch 2 reveal on January 16th. And everyone's like, that's really weird. Nintendo never shadow drops an announcement for their console. The last console they announced was the Switch. They made an announcement the day before the announcement at like 8 o'clock at night or something like that. So everyone on on January 15th, we're going to get an announcement today about the announcement tomorrow. And 1:15 came and went, no announcement. Everyone was like, haha, the leakers are wrong. This isn't going to happen. You guys are so stupid. What happens at 8 o'clock, 1:16 Eastern Time? Nintendo shadow drops this trailer. I'm going to bring it up for you guys right now. let's pop it open. We'll put a little bit of volume on there so we can hear it. And yeah, so this was the
so fancy now.
Are you watching the stream?
Yeah, we are so fancy.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the reveal. So Nintendo, we can react together. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. So this is my first time seeing your reactions. But so yeah, I mean, this is it. This is it. It's exactly what the leak said
it really is. Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, it's word for word. And I was completely wrong on some of this, like that it wasn't real, because I was convinced that the tablet wasn't.
I was too, honestly.
Yeah, but it was. Hey, credit where credit's due.
Right.
I think
Joy-Cons are a thing.
Yeah, the thing that threw me off about it, the leak photo, is it did look really rough. Like it had looked like it was just cut off of the fucking 3D printer, and it could have just been the lighting. I don't know, but the other thing I was completely wrong about here, while we're on that topic, is the mouse cons. Like. I still
see right here in the trailer. They show the possibility of them being actual mouse tracking pads.
Yeah, they clip onto something and then skid around, and then I mean, they still have to convince me that that's a good idea. I'm not going to back off of that just because it's a real thing, because I think it's fucking dumb. But hey, it was real, and that's what matters. So
I don't see any practical use for it either. With you on that, but I mean, it's a gimmick. They're good. They're good at doing that. So
it's not a gimmick that they officially really announced. You barely see them use it as a mouse in that trailer. So what it's actually going to be used for it remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm sure they'll have something for their games, at least their first set of games, as they usually do. And then it'll be like, if people use it, then you'll see more game. It's just like any gimmick. If a lot of people use it, they'll do more games of it. If not a lot of people use it, it'll just fade into obscurity.
Yeah, it'll just be a function that you can use with certain things.
Well, I mean, look at the IR in the original Switch Joy-Cons. Like 5 games use it. There's like over 1,500 games in the Switch library or something like that. So
even like the haptics didn't really get used. I remember when they had that what was it, that 1-2 switch or whatever, where it had like the marbles inside the controller, and so none of that got used. That was the only time that ever got used.
Oh, well, what you're talking about, like the marbles, or you're talking about like the motion sensors of it.
Well, no, like the haptics, right? Like, so like the vibrations, like to that level where you could feel things inside the controller and like use it to do the game. That never happened again, as far as I'm aware.
They still, like, Nintendo still use like what they called a 3D rumble. Is what they called that feature.
Yeah, it's just haptics.
It's
the same thing. It's the same thing the PS5 controller has.
Yeah, but they still use it in certain titles, like definitely in like first party titles. Because I remember because that was like one of the best things about like the Switches and like Pro controllers and stuff, is that it had that particular haptic feedback.
Yeah,
and now it used it like way better.
Yeah, I mean, it used it for the vibration. I'm just talking about like to the level where you're like holding it and like the marbles inside of it, and kind of like Astrobot, had a lot of haptic features and stuff that no game just ever uses on the PS5 except for Astrobot and a couple of like Sony first parties.
Yeah. Square actually uses the DualSense pretty well, a lot. With Rebirth, they used it. I talk about it a bit in my video. They actually do use that quite a bit.
Nice. Shout out to Square.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're looking at the screen though.
I am.
This if you're looking at the footage that they showed on the Switch 2 appears to be Mario Kart 9. They didn't say it was Mario Kart 9, but
it is.
That's what everyone's saying. That's the consensus, is that
it's not Mario Kart 8.
Right,
nope.
Exactly. It's not a DLC, it's not Mario Kart 8.
It's not Mario Kart DS.
Exactly. But one of the glaring differences that you can see right here on this frame that I paused on, double the amount of carts. Yeah. So we're going from 12 to 24. 24.
That's gonna be
48 would be freaking.
48 would be insane. I don't know why that's like that. I was like, 24.
I don't know. It was already bad with 12 with the amount of items and shit in the game.
Yes.
So 24 is going to be absolute
Fuck those blue
Warzone.
shells, dude.
I hope
Fuck.
it's an option. I hope it's an option because like I don't want to do that every time.
I'm sure it's
sure it
gonna
will
be.
be.
I'm sure it's gonna be an option.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Now,
like it's
for-
probably its own mode.
Now it's gonna be great for the server because I mean we can cram every motherfucker in that game.
Oh yeah,
like,
everybody.
to a race, like,
Everybody. Yes, absolutely.
we can get everybody.
down for that.
in the mark.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a couple of things that we noticed about this reveal. Primarily, obviously, the software. We knew from the announcement and from the leak that we weren't going to get like a showcase of software. So the fact that we got a little teaser of Mario Kart 9 was kind of cool.
Yeah.
People kind of expected it, but was like, if it didn't happen, it wouldn't be a big deal. But this is
Right.
kind of big because we can glean a lot from just the few seconds that we see. Primarily that it looks like there may be like some kind of course creator, which could be part of the whole MouseCon thing. When you look at this track, it actually looks like it branches off into two different custom routes. So customization, Mario, Mario Maker style stuff being built into the UI is a highly possible thing. But the one thing that really stood out to everybody was, hold on one second.
Wait. My cat is now.
Oh man.
Oh, you can't see it because the thing's over the screen. You can kind of see her. She's
I see your cat.
yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty excited. I love some Mario Kart.
Sorry about that.
I just don't want to have to do the 24 player races all the time. That's just too much chaos. Like,
Yeah.
It is a lot of chaos, but
I think that'll be its own mode.
Mm-hmm. It'll probably be like a CC thing, probably, right? Like you probably choose your CC and the number of players, like, or that'd be a smart way to do it. But
there's also a lot of talk about like the actual community features that are rumored about this thing, because when you look at the render, what is one thing that we've noticed? Well, that I've noticed that I've been telling you over and over again, that's going to be on the new right Joy-Con that does not appear in this render, which is highly dubious. But obviously, it's because I think Nintendo has quite a, it's going to be a very special thing that they're going to unveil, and it's going to probably be one of the big things they talk about in the April reveal. The C button on the right Joy-Con is completely non-rendered. There's no, the button's there, but it's blank.
Yeah.
But we know that it's going to be a C button. Yeah,
I did notice that. I was like, oh, that might be the C button people were talking about. And then and you told us about a lot of it too. Like, I mean, I've watched some of your videos that you did, and you talked about the C button.
Cool.
Yeah. I was like, it's weird that it's blank. So who knows what it is? The one on the left is definitely going to be like the share button, so you like take pictures and stuff.
Yeah. Do you think it's like one theory I saw? You think it's like a trackpad?
No,
maybe
way too small.
That'd be kind of cool.
Well, no, I thought the same thing when I saw that theory. But the ROG, is it the ROG out? One of the
they do have trackpads. I think it's the ROG.
It has,
it's the
and it's like the exact same size. Like it looks exactly the same. It's this little tiny square.
Okay.
I see, because I thought my first thought was exactly the same as Z's. I was like, that's too fucking small. But then the video I was watching with the theory is like, well, this one has it. And it's in the same spot. It's the exact same size.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if they're gonna have like mouse cons, like you would maybe want that functionality. Like,
that's
you know
actually
what I mean?
a good point.
Yeah. So that's kind of my running theory with it, because I don't think they would remove.
That's a good theory.
I don't think they would remove the C for like a later reveal. That doesn't make any sense, because it having a C on it doesn't divulge what it's for. I think that if there was going to be a C on it, you would just see the C. I don't know why they would scrub it. So it's a button of some kind, maybe, but it could be a little trackpad. I mean, if they're going to do mount, give you a little cursor control.
Oh, excuse me. That sounds plausible.
Yeah, because again, there are some of the other handhelds. One of them it's the exact, because like the Steam Deck's trackpads are much bigger and it's on either side, which is nice if you're left-handed. But the other ones have the exact same thing. So
yeah, I mean, I could see that be like, now you're talking about it. It kind of reminds me of like the C tracker that they had on the new 3DS. in a sense, if you want to look at it in that regard. I'm like, well, but they mainly put that for you can have more like actual camera controls, but you have a right joystick. But like you said, it might be might be like a little trackpad for a cursor or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my thoughts on it because my original prediction when it was like a C button in question was that it was basically just like your PlayStation button or it pulls up like your little HUD and it's got your parties and your party chat and stuff like that in it. But I mean, they have the home button and you could just use that. So
that's what I was to say. Like, yeah, they have the home button. It's right above it. So,
but I wouldn't put it past Nintendo to have two buttons that you could,
But I also want to put it past Nintendo to be like, yeah, so for this thing, you just cover up that C button. No, we're gonna reveal that later. Like, it does sound kind of like a Nintendo thing to do.
It really is. I mean, we don't know. That's actually a really good theory, though, that it could be a trackpad. If the Joy-Con theory is real, I think that's entirely plausible. Because nothing Nintendo's officially has shown us that a C button exists. So Nintendo either knows what they're doing to create buzz, or that was just kind of a placeholder and people got duped by it, or maybe that was their way to kind of see where leaks were coming from. Either way, in this render, it's just a very clearly it's a blank button. I do personally do like, it's there, but it doesn't seem to serve any function. They don't demonstrate that at all. They don't. They don't show you.
Yeah, look up. I think it's the ROG Ally. I don't know, but you can look it up later or now. But it's the exact
ROG Ally.
Same button.
I think also has the optical thing too, like the mouse cons.
Yeah,
I think
it looks.
I think the ROG Ally actually did the thing first with or they knew that Nintendo was doing it through like industry plants, and they just beat them to market. But what do we think about this magnetic design? Like, let's see how they snap in like that. Like, do we like that? Like, what do we think?
I think it will be much better than having them slide because, dude, sometimes those locks in the back don't work that well.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna come down to how strong the magnets are. I'm kind of with some of the other people I saw on this. I don't like the little nub inside, the little attachment point. I think for people like us, it's probably fine. But if you're giving this thing to a kid, that's a bad point, and it's also going to get dirty. I think it's not. I would have expected a little bit more elegance out of it. You know what I mean? But hey, for adults, it's probably going to be fine. But kids, I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Same thought, really. If I think kids are going to fuck that all kinds of up. But it could be more sturdy than it looks. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, why would you buy your kid a Switch 2 at this point? I mean, the Switch 2 is going to be able to play all Switch 1 games, and unless like there's any kind of crazy software that's going to be out right away. I mean, if I was a parent, I would just stick with buying a Switch 1 for my kid, not even thinking about it. But it is a valid concern that we're not going to really know. We're all kind of speculating about hardware durability. I'm sure Nintendo makes toys, essentially. I think they're gonna take those things into account when they went through the R&D for it, but we'll see how it goes. It does look like it could be a potential like serious design flaw. So I hope the magnets are strong and they stay strong too, because I mean, with Kai, I'm the same way. Like my Joy-Cons eventually just start doing this in handheld, like super loose. That rail just isn't the best design. It is weak,
and so it's such a new kind of thing with the way they're doing it. I'm just gonna have to have it in my hands before I have like any real opinion on it. I think, personally.
Yeah, no, I get that, but as like Zai brought,
it can be worse.
It can be worse.
Nintendo essentially looks at their consoles. They look at them as toys, so they definitely want to make sure they're durable. So I'm pretty sure it went through tons of testing, and even before then, like back in the cartridge days, dude. They would have people literally sit there, and it was like done by machines by like Super Nintendo, but like the regular Nintendo, the Famicom days, man, they had some poor soul,
the really old times,
taking a cartridge, going in and out 5,000 times to make sure it would still play. So,
I have two words for you. Just two.
Oh no!
Joy-Con drift.
Oh,
so. I'm pretty sure they fixed that problem, although they should have done that
They didn't fix it.
For the Switch.
They're fixing it now for the Switch 2.
They're fixing it
fixing
now.
but,
Yes,
but they
you're still stuck with the shitty Joy-Con drift on any old Joy-Con.
Yeah, but there's
every
still
single one.
Yeah, but it was a flaw in their quality, is all I'm pointing out.
It was,
yes,
but
but
they could have
fixed,
fixed, and they never did.
But I do feel like with this design, though, they would have made sure that it'd be durable enough for them, because again, they know they basically want to target this towards kids for the most part, and they want them to be durable. So
I feel like this is actually I think this is Nintendo's first console that's not going to be really marketed towards kids. To be honest, I think this console is actually going to be marketed more towards the more casual / hardcore gamer.
Okay,
I was
this is
about
going to compete more with the Steam Deck.
All right.
I think this is going to come in at the exact same price point. Yeah, this is like their pro system essentially.
It's the least toy console they've ever made. It looks like something that I would expect.
It's a more sturdier Switch. To me, it is a Switch Pro. I mean, they call it a Switch 2. That's fine. It's I feel like this looks more premium, especially when you look at it. Look at it like side by side to an OG Switch. It looks more like a premium device. It looks less toy-ish, in my opinion.
It does look like it has some higher quality to it. Yeah.
Like they even in that render, they go in to show you like that plastic they use. It's like a glimmery, shiny plastic. So it's like a really nice material. That is not in the original Switch from what I can tell. The OLED was a step up. The OLED was definitely it felt like a more premium device, but it still had all the same flaws as the regular Switch. But the other things that all the other things that I've noticed about this thing is that it's weird because Nintendo really did they play it too safe by doing this? Did they really? Nintendo's always been known for kind of doing some wacky shit, and this is like the safest thing I think they've ever done since the Super Nintendo, to be honest.
Yeah, it was not a bad move because, I mean, I feel like they really learned their lessons for the most part from the Wii U. And they don't want a repeat of
Did
that.
they actually?
well, here's the thing.
They're definitely scared of a repeat, that's for sure.
Console, the Switch, and they want to keep that same type of crowd around instead of calling it something stupid like the Switch U. They call it the Switch 2. So it's marketed to you as a totally different new thing. So
I feel like it's too on the nose, like I don't like that they went the Sony route. I think they should have went with Super Switch. It would have. I think it would have had the same effect.
That'd be a nice throwback. I mean, that'd be great.
It would have been
called the Super Switch. Like, it's a Super Switch, bro.
It would, Super Saiyan, Super Switch. It just worked. But they went with 2. They're like, Switch guys, they really need to know it's not just a Switch. They need to know it's not the same 2 version.
It's something new. Please buy this. More money,
right?
Please
Exactly.
Money now.
I think in the era of PS5 Pros and Xbox Series this and that, I think you needed a clear like Switch 2. I don't think you could get away with the Super Switch because people would be confused about, well, is this a Switch 2? Is it a upgraded Switch? Before the mid-gen refreshes and stuff, I think you could have probably gotten away with Super Switch. I think Switch 2 is fine. The whole market. Yeah, I think that like Switch 2 is fine. I think a better Switch is fine. I think they're doing everything the right way as far as I can tell. I mean, they should have probably released it sooner because it's probably coming out the gate really weak and, underpowered even for a Nintendo console at this point. I think third-party supportt's going to be a bit, you're not going to see some stuff on it.
We could talk specs if you want.
But I've seen the specs and like
specs yet.
Yeah, they haven't. Yeah, but
there are leak specs from the same sources that have all the other leaks, right? So the specs are probably in line, if not
possibly. That could be possibly true. We can go on by that as as a guide, essentially, but it's not concrete. But I will say that this actually may not be the least powerful console they've ever released compared to everything else. I mean, I actually think it's probably one of the more powerful systems they've released coming out of another generation. I mean, it'd still be considered underpowered compared to some other stuff, especially PC, obviously, but like a PS5 or the Series X. But I mean, that's always like ever since the I guess I don't want to really say the Wii. I mean, that's kind of been their thing. They don't care. They've been underpowered, so it's fine.
It's gonna be, if you read Digital Foundry's report, if you read it's gonna be roughly as powerful as a Steam Deck. Like what you see on the Steam Deck is about what you can expect on the Switch, except for performance is going to be probably a little worse because the Switch's screen is going to be pushing a higher resolution. And I think Digital Foundry said you can expect like realistic performance around like a base PS4, but like
that's what
resolutions. I heard. But I mean, the Steam Deck is around the PS4 Pro. It kind of sits around that kind of vibe, but it's mostly because the Steam Deck has.
You can play Rebirth on the Steam Deck.
Yeah. But it's mostly because it has a really low resolution. But Steam Deck also has DLSS, so you can kind of like see a lot of kind of how the Switch. You can get a pretty good idea of the Switch by just kind of looking at the Steam Deck. I think you're going to see, it's going to be different here and there depending on the games and whatever else. But that's kind of what you're looking at in terms of from what I've seen anyway. But.
I mean, and if you want to say it's comparable to Steam Deck, I mean that's fine. It's cheaper than a Steam Deck, so.
Well, we don't know that yet, but yeah.
Well, it's probably gonna be the same price as the base Steam Deck, but you're gonna get more bang for your buck for a Switch 2 than you would for a Steam Deck.
I mean, depends
on everything I read too, the performance is gonna be better than a Steam Deck. So
I was about to say, it depends on what you want. Like, I mean, if you don't give a fuck about Nintendo games, then the bang for your buck is definitely the Steam Deck for sure.
Right. But if you do want Nintendo games, then you might.
I mean, almost everything in the world, especially if this thing is going to be as powerful or more powerful than a Steam Deck and have the same power as like an Xbox Series S. They're going to port everything to this damn thing. They're going to port everything to it. Doesn't the Xbox Series S only have 10 gigs of memory?
I don't know honestly.
Well, RAM
the Switch 2 is going to have 12. Is going to have 12 gigs of LP.
Yeah, but how fast? But I mean, how fast is the hard drive? Because
the storage, the storage is supposed to be stupid fast.
You said it was Series S, right?
I don't have the storage speeds on here right now.
Okay, so I don't have.
I have the RAM speeds. The RAM speeds are pretty good too.
It's 10 gigs for the Xbox Series S.
Because the newer consoles. Because the newer consoles don't need as much RAM because their NVMe's is serving as a kind of RAM surrogate. That's why when you see PS5 games ported to Steam, the RAM requirements are really high because they don't kind of anticipate you having a fast enough hard drive that's as fast. So it's possible that 2 gigs of RAM isn't gonna be as big of a deal as kind of one would think.
There's two things that the Switch. I mean, DDR5 memory is a little. It's not old, but it's in terms of like GPU, it is. But it's still gonna be. I think we're gonna be very surprised, and I think there's gonna be a lot of other things on the software side that are gonna surprise us. I definitely know Nvidia has been working with Nintendo on like this custom T239 chip that they have in it. The RAM speeds are high. Like, there's just going to be a lot of. I think we're just going to be very, very surprised.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't think it's a knock against.
Just listen to the games that they're saying are going to be released on the Switch too.
I think what you're going to have is how to put this? When the Switch came out last time, and how we felt about it and its performance in relation to everything around it. Is going to be the exact same thing with the Switch 2, except for, again, with current stuff. And so it's going to come out and it's going to be like, oh, isn't it cool that you can play this, and this? But like, it'll be a very short amount of time before either it's a miracle, we start talking about miracle ports, or it's just kind of like...
we're going to be talking about not only miracle ports, but I think we're going to actually see current gen titles get ported to it. Not even ported, just made for it. It's going to be released globally with PS5 and Xbox. Well, Xbox obviously is going away in terms of being a platform, but
but I mean, I'm happy to be wrong. I would love for this thing to come out and just be a fucking like just crazy, like, oh my god, look how powerful this whole thing is.
I mean, again, if it's going to be comparable to a Steam Deck, I mean,
Yeah.
that's still pretty impressive,
And it's not an apples to apples
plenty of power
comparison.
to do other things with it. So I mean,
yeah, that's fine. I think
won't be
Nintendo
enough to really
games
like snuff at, but if you want Nintendo games, we're gonna get all the new ones, so that's what you got to get.
Yeah,
So-
I think Nintendo games are going to be fantastic on it. They're going to look great. They're going to run great. Except Pokemon, because Pokemon always
yeah, they
shit's the bed
It's so
these days.
true.
Yeah,
It's
but
so
I
true.
think your third party games are going to be very like, you're going to have some that run really well. You're going to have some that run and look like ass. You're going to have some that like are miracle port. I think it's going to be a real mixed bag. I think because I think the CPU is going to be the biggest limiter for a lot of that stuff, because it's such a limiter on like the PS5 and the Series X right now. You have games
I
that
think
like are
even
running
Digital
at
Foundry was a
fucking.
little surprised about the CPU clocks that were leaked, because it's going to be at 1100 megahertz handheld,
But you're
but it's going to be a little underclocked while docked. But your GPU is going to be double. Basically, and I don't know if I got to find the teraflop. Here. Let me bring that up real quick. This thing's gonna be it's gonna be like 3 teraflops from what I understand. So yeah, look, let me bring up this chart real quick. So yeah, this is from the family boards. So a Switch, a Switch handheld is, Switch handheld in handheld mode is 192 gigaflops. A docked Switch 1 is 393 gigaflops. A Switch 2 handheld is going to be 1.7 teraflops. And then a Switch 2 in docked mode is going to be 3.1 teraflops. It's going to literally, it's going to be 11 times more powerful, 12 times more powerful than a Switch 1.
16 times the detail.
So,
yeah.
And I don't have the other teraflop comparisons. I think, I'm not sure exactly what a base PS4 is, but I think it's like right around 3 teraflops as well. I know that's also not an apples to apples comparison, but it is worth noting that Nintendo does seem to be squeezing a lot of blood out of a stone here. Nintendo, just on the Switch alone, which when the Switch was launched, it's on an X1 Tegra chip. It was old as shit. And they put The Witcher 3 on that. And it's playable. So what are they going to be able to do with 11 times the power?
It'll be good. I
Switch
mean, a lot of that gets chewed up by resolution though, like because the PS5 is like, I think,
though, man.
The PS5 is like 8 times more powerful than a PS4.
You're going from 4 gigs of RAM to 12.
Yeah,
this thing is designed to handle that upscaling of the resolution.
Yeah, but you can look like the PS5 is 8 times. Like I think it's like 8 times more powerful than a PS4, but the games aren't like 8 times. A lot of that gets chewed up because DLSS. I have DLSS. We all do. It's not that great, Like I have the latest DLSS on my PC.
It's going to be a lot better on a handheld.
It helps. It helps, but we'll see. And hey, I'm happy to be wrong. I don't think it's going to wow me or blow me. I think it'll be great.
It's not going to wow you because you're kind of also in a different echelon in terms of like your gaming immersion experience.
I think it'll be a nice handheld. I think it'll, Nintendo stuff will run great. You'll have some good third party stuff, some good indies. Again, it'll be the exact same thing as when the Switch came out.
You're going to have Xbox behind Nintendo. You're going to have EA. Well, that's probably not a good company to say that's going to be behind Nintendo, but there's there's going to be a lot of third party support out the gate for the Switch 2, because a lot of these third party companies really, really missed the bandwagon with the Switch because Nintendo was on the decline. The Wii U was an epic fail, and the Switch was a gamble. The ones that believed in Nintendo, they wanted to making out really well, whereas some of the bigger developers that didn't kind of get on the bandwagon, they missed out on a lot of software sales. So and it's going to be important for Microsoft going forward to get their shit on Nintendo's platforms, because Game Pass might not cut it for them. So it's going to be quite an interesting thing to see. Like, we're going to get Halo on the Switch too. We're going to get definitely getting Elden Ring. We're getting Tekken 8. We're getting all the current gen games. I actually think that this thing is going to have legs where we're going to see actual like games coming out in 2027, 2028 that are coming out for PS5 and for Xbox that are also going to be coming out on Switch too. So I think that's going to be a really interesting thing that we're going to see. And I'm really excited to see what Nintendo's got cooking, because why did they wait so long to reveal this damn thing? I have no idea. people,
No
there's
idea.
a lot of shit going on
No
now where
idea.
people are actually like, they did the reveal and people are like, that's it? It's just a Switch. It's just a better Switch. That's so dumb. And now everyone's hating on the Switch too. So I don't know if like this like reverse marketing now. Yeah, people are saying how bad the Switch 2 is because it's just a better Switch. Yeah, that's what I think too.
Like,
I think
they're all just whining. It's like the same fucking 10 people on Twitter whining about shit. Like, it's fine. All they needed to do, I'm happy that's all they did. I like gimmicks, they only get you so far. They get you that first little window of like, oh wow, isn't that cool, guys? And then like people move on and they don't give a fuck. Ultimately, they want it to work better, play better games, etc., etc. And this looks like it's going to do that. I'm happy with it. They did exactly what I wanted them to do with it. You know, I mean, maybe cram a little more power into it. Again, we don't know the specs, but other than that, I have very little complaint. I'm not going to be using it as a mouse. I'll say that. But
I am interested to see what gimmicks Nintendo has. I really want the social networking feature to be built into it. I think if that campus, that's what the C button was rumored to be called. It could be complete bullshit. But if that campus idea was true, and the NSO test that was showing like how Nintendo was trying to test their online servers, Nintendo also had like this new server that they put out there. They got an SSL certificate for that was really interesting. I would love to see that stuff all built into it. I think Nintendo is going to surprise us a lot on the UI side and the software side. But we'll see what happens. I really think that another thing we completely missed was the USB-C port on the top is real. So we do. Is that going to be for like a second screen? Is that going to be for just tabletop charging? Because that's the most Occam's razor explanation. Because that was like one of the biggest complaints that people had. Was like, I want to be able to charge my Switch while I have it on tabletop mode, and you can't because this damn USB port's on the bottom. So it could be just pass-through charging for all we know. But it would be cool if like Nintendo. It would be cool if Nintendo somehow incorporates it into the gimmick, but I do think that because it does look like they also removed the IR sensors. I don't know if you noticed it in the trailer, but they said that some games won't be backwards compatible. People think those are all 5 games that include like Labo and
probably
And
shout out to Labo. Shout out to Labo.
A couple of those things that use the IR. Yeah, those won't make it into the Switch 2 era. But other than that, it's all. It looks like they're kind of going with a more dynamic modern mouse con style UI. It would be really cool. I'm super interested to see what's going to happen. The official reveal is going to be in April. We're going to get a Switch 1 Direct in February. Also going to get some probably Pokemon ZA information coming up next month as well. So
let's go.
There's a lot of stuff on the front. There's a lot of news that's going to still come up. I think we kind of went. I wanted to talk more about this, but there's just so much more that we could talk about. And it's going to take way too much time, so I'm going to just wrap up this segment. But so I guess the consensus is we're all going to buy one, or what?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, I will eventually.
Launch day, or we're waiting. We're waiting a little, taking a wait and see approach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get one no matter what. But I don't know if I'll have one day one just for fun reasons.
You know, your boy right here is getting one day one, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
duh.
I'll be at the New York City Nintendo store picking up my Switch 2 on launch day in June.
As long as they have a game that I'm excited to play, I'll get it day one. If I'm not, because I mean, really, I'm hoping they announce a like 60 frames Tears of the Kingdom, and that will be my day one game because I still haven't played it.
That was another thing that I heard was that Nintendo will offer free patches for some of their older gen games that are going to be getting performance patches on the Switch 2. If that happens, that'll be fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it probably it will probably be included in some expansion pack on NSO, so it won't be truly free. But if you have the subscription already, you'll probably be good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even bought the game yet, so it'll be pretty much a whole new experience. So I mean, as long as if they don't have any games I'm really kind of looking at or any patches or anything, I'll probably wait until there's a game that I can really get. But I'm gonna get one, and it makes me mad because I know an OLED upgraded one's coming out probably.
We're gonna all double dip too. Yeah, absolutely.
So. Yeah, it's annoying, but yeah, I'm gonna get one. I mean, especially, the server, we're gonna be probably rocking some fucking Mario Kart,
absolutely,
Smash Brothers, shit like that. So I mean,
absolutely.
I'm gonna
gotta dust off that GameCube controller.
That's right. It's the best way to play Smash.
I don't have
Wait,
that
absolutely.
because that controller is ridiculous.
It's
Oh my
it's the
god.
best way to Smash
Blasphemy.
Bros.
It is the controller of sociopaths.
Nope, it's the Smash Bros controller. That's it for me.
But yeah, so I think it's going to be cool. We have a lot of new information that's going to come up over the next couple of months. I kind of just wanted to go over the reveal with everyone and kind of just look at it. It is exactly what we thought it was going to be. It looks cool. But no one's really surprised by the unveil, unfortunately, because the leaks were like exactly what we saw. But Nintendo, I feel like, will have a lot to show us in April on the software side. So let's hope for that. And so that's exciting stuff. Let's go on to another really, really cool topic that I think a lot of people have seen the tweets. Is gaming, are games going to go to $100 and is that going to be normalized? What's going on here? I'm going to let Villain take it away and talk about this topic. What's going on with the price of games?
Yeah, man. So this is something that has been obviously knocking around for a long time, conversation wise, especially back when they went from like $60 to $70. That was the whole thing. But recently it's been kind of brought back to the forefront by this like big, like 250-page report by this guy named Matthew Ball. Yeah, Matthew Ball. And he basically, it's basically just kind of a retrospective on kind of the past, I don't know how much time it was, like maybe decade. It was called The State of Video Gaming in 2025, but it looks back at several years and a lot of like how much games cost to make. And one of the thing that people kind of like picked up and ran with was this kind of statement that he made in it, where he kind of theorized that a lot of game developers are kind of hoping that Grand Theft Auto 6 costs $100 because it may two things he said, so that they could raise prices and that it would save gaming to do so to $100. And so a lot of outlets picked that up and ran with it, that headline, and so now it's kind of back in the discussion of, will Grand Theft Auto be $100? If so, is that a good thing? Is it worth it? Should other games go? So, it prompted a lot of questions, and so I thought it was pertinent to kind of bring it up here. And so kind of the first thing I guess that I wanted to kind of hear from you guys was, do you think that Grand Theft Auto 6 will be $100? My thoughts before I pass it off to Kai is I don't think it will. I think it will absolutely be $70. I think there will probably be $100, $120, even maybe $150 like edition of the game. The main reason I think this is Grand Theft Auto Online, primarily, first and foremost, because they're going to make so much money just through that. They don't have to do 100. They get you in the door for the 70, and then they fucking milk you dry for them shark cards. So that's my theory. Kai, what you think, man? You were nodding your head with me, so
I'm pretty in consensus with pretty much all of that. I don't think they're going to sell it for 100. I don't think they're going to sell it for 80 or try to get away with that. Other than it is really going to be the most expensive game developed ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get into some of that. I just wanted to get kind of a temperature of the room.
Gotcha. But yeah, no, they're not going to do that. Again, if they do like an edition that's like $100 or $150, it's like a collector edition thing.
Mm-hmm.
They may do that. Not to get too further into that, but yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. They could possibly get away with charging more. But yeah, again, I think they're going to stick with the $70 price tag because it's still like the norm right now. And on top of that, yeah, they're going to more likely be coming out with Grand Theft Auto Online 2.0. And if it's as successful as the current GTA Online, yeah, they're not going to have any issues with money. So I don't think they're going to worry about it.
Z, what about you? I saw on Twitter that you think it absolutely will be $100. So let's hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think they will. Starfield kind of did that $100 early access thing. A lot of games are doing that now. I think, first of all, we don't know the release date of GTA 6. They're 100% going to do some kind of early access. They're absolutely going to charge 100 or more. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Will there be a $70 version later on? Of course. They're not going to do that on launch. They know the demand is so pent up for this game. There's absolutely no. It makes no business sense for them to not charge $100, knowing that they're going to get it. They're going to get away with it. Like we're saying, and we're going to talk about it. It's obviously going to be the most expensive game ever developed. They're gonna make bank. They're gonna let the market decide the price. And I think $100 is. I think that's a psychological point where people are gonna say, you know what, I want the game. YOLO, I'm buying it. And they're going to buy it. They're going to pay $100. I know I'm going to pay $100. Unfortunately, I don't want to pay $100, but GTA 5 came out in 2013 on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 as a console exclusive. This is going to be the only viable platform for this game will probably be the PS5 Pro. And people are going to pay $100. I just we'll look at this later on this year and see if I was wrong on that, but that's my feeling on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt there's going to be additions that are $100, and that may come with early access. Rockstar's never really done the early access thing. They kind of like their simultaneous launches. I mean, we'll see. I'm not going to really die on that hill because
money.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? I personally don't see them doing an early access for that. Maybe GTA Online they will. Like they'll sell a version that comes with something. Like. It'll be, I think they'll sell a version where maybe, because they usually launch the online like 2 months later, 3 months later, and they'll probably be like, you'll get early access to online when it comes out. Maybe there'll be something, but there will be additions for sure. But the base game, I think you'll be able to get at 70. No problem.
I don't think you'll be able to get it at 70 on launch. I don't think so. I don't think
you don't think there'll be any $70 versions? You think it's going to have to go through a price drop?
I don't think so. And if there is, it's gonna be so decentivized to want to buy that. It's gonna be easy for Rockstar to put enough content in addition to get them the $100. I don't see why they wouldn't make this business decision to rake in an extra $30 on every sale of the game. They know they will get. This is not gonna be prohibitive on people. Like people are not gonna protest this. They're gonna mumble and grumble about it. You're going to see some content and some, content creators and commentary people talk about, $100, it's a big deal. People are going to pony up. This is 2025. It's GTA 6 and it's 2025. People are going to pony up for it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't agree with that. Just for the sheer fact that
that's fine.
Actually, for a lot of gaming, like we've had 2024 had a lot of successes. There are going to be a lot of successes in 2025. However, there are a lot of really big failures in 2024. There are going to be some really big failures in 2025, as Villain mentioned. And again, there's that presentation that you can go and find as a PDF, which is a really fascinating to read. I definitely
we'll dig into some of that too in a little bit. Yeah,
just to go look it out for yourself though, if you were would really dig into it. But yeah, no, I think it would make more sense for them to stay with a $70 price tag because again, some of the sales and stuff are in decline, and they're saying, well, we need them to do that so we can save our industry. No, man, they don't need to do that. Like Rockstar themselves, Take-Two, they don't need to do that because they know it's like GTA, just Grand Theft Auto in general. It's super, super, super popular. It's probably more popular than COD.
It is.
Yeah, so it's gonna sell. They don't need to raise that price tag to make their money back because they're definitely gonna make their investment back probably almost 10 times over than what they put into it. So yeah, I don't think it'd be a smart decision to do that as well because again, just to bring in some real world stuff. I mean, prices for a lot of stuff are probably gonna go up soon due to inflation and things like that. People are gonna be able to pay for things like that, especially video games being $70. Is already really hard for most people. So again, yeah, I think it'd be really stupid if they went that route. Again, additions, yeah, fine. They may do early access for the game, or they may have chosen that, or early access for GTA if you buy a certain one that's $80, $90, $100. I don't know. Thinking there's probably gonna be some crazy stupid. Oh, here's a collector's pack that you don't get a give with.
Yeah,
but you could pay $250.
Yeah, I love that now.
For a bunch of shit.
Now. Collectors,
you don't even get the game. They give you a still case for the game.
Yeah,
but you don't get the game.
Yeah, that's so fucked up. I hate that shit so much.
Like, what other industry gets away with shit like that? No one but the gaming industry, and they deserve to fail. There's theories out there right now, and I'm for it. There should be a crash for this industry because of how shitty they've been in so many ways.
I'd say, Kai, dude.
We need the $100 game, guys. The $100 game is going to save the industry because it's all we can go around and charge all of our shitty games for $100, and those dumb shits are going to pay for it. No, fuck them. They need a fucking fail. Anyway,
I said, let me remind everyone. I originally said, Kai, do you think GTA is going to be $100? And he said, they deserve to fail. That's how we ended. That's how we ended. I love it. I love it.
Oh man.
Yeah. Where were we? I was too busy laughing.
Sorry about my rage.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I do think that I think that what Kai was saying was right. There's only so much that people can afford. I mean, you have people like us, and you have people kind of that are like kind of the super, nerdy gamer people who are gonna. But like your average person, like I have friends, in the real world who like even no matter how excited they are for a game, it's I gotta wait till like 2 paychecks. I gotta save up. I can't get it. I'll wait till Christmas, whatever. And there are a lot of people in that position where $30 more on top of a game. They're not going to be able to get it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I think Rockstar is going to count on that back end. It's almost like a free to play game, right? Except for it's a $70 free to play game. Where they're going to be making so much money on the back end with GTA Online. I don't think they're going to risk going to 100. Unlike the Switch, I'm not happy to be wrong here, but I would be really surprised if they broke the dam with and that's what we'll kind of get into here in a bit too. Let me go ahead and kind of dive into that. When do y'all think the games will start going up? Because they will, right? Like they'll probably go up to 80 at some point, at least 75, 80, something like that.
Nah, we're still in the 70. Like there's still a lot of PC games that launched at 60. I think 70 was the jump. I think we'll see 70 for a little while.
Well, but when do you think next generation or like?
I give it
definitely
5
next
years,
generation. Yeah, 5 years sounds about right to me too.
Okay. I give it 5 years just for the sheer fact how, again, these fucking ghouls are like, man, we want to charge $100 for our games.
Yeah, I mean, in gaming is a luxury. I mean, and you could just play. I mean, at the end of the day, you could just play free to play game. You could play, I mean, there's so much other shit you could backlog stuff. You don't have to buy a new fucking game, especially.
That's why I said the market. That's why I think Rockstar is going to let the market just dictate the price. I think $100, and I don't think that's going to be, I don't think other companies are going to be able to replicate justifying a $100 price point. Like EA is not going to be able to do that. Rockstar will be able to because their product is good. People will pay it because they know, they trust, and they feel like this product is going to deliver.
So do you think The Witcher 4 could come out at $100? It'd be fine.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't know. We only saw a very small glimpse of Witcher 4. And
let's say it gets shown off. It looks awesome. It looks like the best Witcher game ever. Better than 3, better than Cyberpunk, like whatever. It's like best case scenario.
Case scenario, I do think
they
that
could
they
get
could
away
try.
with 100. Base game $100.
I still don't think people are going to trust CD Projekt Red enough to justify $100 even for Witcher 4. Witcher 4 is also going to be accused of being woke, so there's going to be a lot of controversy behind that. So Witcher 4's got some shit going against it. Like, even though GTA 6 could be considered woke from whatever standards there are about considering things woke, everyone is totally okay with the Bonnie and Clyde story that's going to be in that game. So it's people are just going to buy it and they're going to eat it up. They're going to pay whatever, man. People would probably sell their left foot for this game. So I
will say that of the games that could it be $100, Grand Theft Auto is the game. Like it is exactly the game.
That is my point. Mm-hmm.
I still don't think it will be though. Not this one. You might see the next one in 10 years.
We may not be alive the next GTA 7 comes out. So,
but I would be shocked and quite disappointed. Again, I'll pay for it. I will. Day one.
Yeah.
If there is $100 early access, you bet your ass I'm getting that one too, especially if the online early access.
Me too. Absolutely.
But again, I would be really, really surprised, and I really hope it doesn't, honestly. But
I hope it doesn't too. I mean, it's not like I'm rooting for it. I just feel like, just like what you're saying, if there's any game that's going to be able to do it, and I feel like it's going to be to Rockstar's credit. They're going to be like, we can do this because we're making a good game. Fuck you guys. Like, make better games. Again, if you want to charge this kind of money, make better games.
Yeah, but then they're just going to like it's already been established. Like, this is going to it's going to basically set precedent for all these other games. Like, we can
good. Let them. Then, like you said, let them fail. Let them fail.
Yeah, I mean they will. But
just
I mean,
because,
but it's going to be like other big games too are going to start going for that $100 mark, man. Like it could even like for even AA games could go for that $100 mark. Like I don't want them to charge.
I don't think there's going to be a domino effect like that. I don't think so.
Oh, it totally would be.
I don't think so.
You dude, you know those exec ghouls out there, bro. Those fucking hogs.
They're
like, oh yeah, we can do it now, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
firmly with Kai on this one. I just don't think, because even the analyst, he didn't say he thinks it will be. He just said that other people are hoping that it will be.
Right.
I think there was an analyst, I think, that came out and said he doesn't think it will be, but it's just one guy. Analysts are wrong all the time.
Right.
There's that one guy. What's his name? Pisca something or what? I don't know. He's wrong about all kinds of shit. He's always out there predicting shit. He's wrong. He's wrong about all. I remember like when the Activision Blizzard shit was going down, like he was wrong about like 80% of that shit. I may be thinking of the wrong name, so I don't want to be slandering anybody. But there's one analyst out there. He was just, it was wild. But yeah, so yeah. I mean, it looks like we're kind of. We'll see. I guess we'll see when we see, when it comes out. The other part of this kind of other side of this coin, though, is kind of how much games cost to make, which is kind of why this whole conversation is kind of around to begin with. And that part of that report is just includes some of the just ridiculous price. I mean, you had the latest Call of Duty was $700 million. Dollars to make, almost $1 billion. We did a quick Google before the show, and Genshin Impact was $900 million.
Yeah.
Wow. There was those Insomniac leaks where the first Spider-Man game was, I think, 90 to 100 million. Spider-Man 2 was 300 million, like 3 times the budget. A game where they already had the city built. Yep. Like they already had the systems built. They already had a lot of that game built, and it was 3 times as much. To $300 million, like over $250 million to make that game. And so, and then you, on top of that, you kind of hear this argument of, well, they cost more and more and more, but we're getting less and less, or like it's copy and paste, or it's, so really, I guess the question there is like, why are they so expensive, right? If we aren't really getting bang for the buck, like, well, what are we doing here,
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's where you can. It's really surprising about Genshin Impact. Like I don't know why that can be like almost $1 billion, but again, I guess it's like over the time of them like making stuff for it. Okay, sure,
probably.
But COD almost costing $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
$1 billion.
$1 billion
for what?
To develop, and it's a copy and paste fucking game.
Yeah.
With recycled
and supposedly the code behind COD is a nightmare, from what I heard too.
Content. What? Like I'm like, oh well, we got so expensive to make this. What did you spend on COD? Why was it so expensive? What did you do with your money? Why did you mismanage it so poorly? Like
I would hate to be Kai's wife. She blows a little money like out shopping with the girls like that she wasn't supposed to spend. She comes home, Kai's sitting in the chair in the dark with a check.
So you don't have to worry about that shit. But no, seriously, I mean, these are companies who are supposed to be like, oh, we're savvy in what we do. $700 million for basically recycled content for the majority of that game, and yeah, it's insane. Like people like that's another thing. Like, why do you have to spend this much, or you feel like you have to spend this much when you know for the most part that if you just make a fun game, that's what they should focus on first.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? But they're saying like, oh, well, if we just keep on going bigger and bigger and bigger, and if we just keep on pumping in all this money, get all the investors to come in, give us all the stocks, get all the stocks, give us some of the stock prices. Then they think like they're going to get this huge all them stonks. They're going to feel like they're going to do this huge investment back, and they have way too many high expectations for a lot of their releases, and now it's getting to a point where it's like, yeah, it would have possibly been better for them to just take that money and invest in a stock market rather than developing a game, because they're not making that investment back. They would have made their investment back probably almost 3 times over if they would just put it into stocks. So that's more of a, hey, that's an industry problem. You guys need to figure out what you need to do better for yourselves to make it more profitable for you, and also to provide experiences that gamers want. And that's another thing too. They're trying to blame this shit on gamers, like, oh, the gamers always expected too much. They ask too much of us all the time. It's we spend so much money making these games. No, you made that choice. That was your business decision, and your business decisions have been bad. Thus, you've been doing poorly. So what should you do? Learn from mistakes. But no, they double and triple down on all this shit. Like, it's your fault that we fell, guys. We're never wrong. We can just keep on doing the same thing, and it's just gonna work because you'll just buy it. And that's not happening anymore. Yeah, it's happening less and less now. FIFA actually sold less this year or last year than ever before, which is insane because that game always sells stupid amounts of copies. But yeah, that's what's held like EA stocks actually dropped like 20% in the last 2 days because of that, along with Veilguard only selling like 1.5 million.
Yeah, Veilguard.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that too. Yeah, I mean that's kind of just like the narrative of a lot of these games, even like some of the more successful ones. I mean, you see Square's always disappointed in their sales, and I mean they cost all this money.
Yeah, Rebirth just got released on PC yesterday, and it's looking good.
Yeah,
I know Kai doesn't want to hear that, but I mean, Square's probably being like, rubbing their little greedy palms together.
I'm not.
They need the money, bro. I don't want them. As much as I have gripes with Square Enix, I don't want them going out of business or being bought out by Sony or some shit. So
I don't either. I just want them to do better. I want them to be better.
do better, Square. Do better.
Do better.
I feel that way about most games these days, except Baldur's Gate. That game's perfect.
Like most like big developers and publishers, they again, that's just tying into everything I was just talking about. They just need to do better. Manage your funds better with your millions and millions of dollars you projects expecting to get like, we're going to sell 9 million copies, guys, and make $3 billion. That's going to be great.
I mean, they really need to look at like Nintendo spends like $30 to make their games, and like they make billions of dollars. Like like if you look at Mario Odyssey, that game cost probably $300 to make. And so.
You undervalue Nintendo developers' time.
Billions of dollars on them games.
Billions and billions.
Billions of dollars.
Billions.
Let's not go there. But yeah. No, Nintendo's just kind of they're their own thing. They're like their own little space of the video games industry. Like
they can get away with it.
They have their own little corner, just cut out in the corner over there. That's just where Nintendo lives and they play.
Okay, all right.
That wasn't Trump. What the fuck?
I feel like it was Trump adjacent. It was Trump adjacent.
Okay, fine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
I felt like he was in the room.
I mean, you can only play Nintendo games.
I felt like he was here with me.
And
I'm in danger.
And but they also are really smart with how they build their tools and their games and everything to make it where it's not like super expensive for them to do it, and they can always make a profit back because again, Nintendo games tend to sell well for the most part because a lot of people just really like Nintendo.
Yeah. So I mean, do you think the game industry is maybe a victim of player expectation? Because I mean, You don't think so?
No,
It's a question, yeah. Well, I mean, people do seem to like want like better graphics and shit, you know, all the fucking time and things like that. But I mean, I think is at this point, like the graphics have gotten so good, like you can kind of stay there and just like make a good fucking game.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the thing.
Persona 5 has sold a bajillion copies and it looks fucking, I mean, I think it looks great, but I mean, it looks like it costs $300 to make, you know, like Nintendo games. So
Oh my god!
But it has a very striking color palette and style to it.
Yeah, no, artistically, yeah, it's fantastic. But I mean, you can see where they cut corners, right? Like you could see a lot of like budgetary, but they made a fantastic game.
And then that just goes to show you, like, you don't have to go like, photorealistic. I mean, it's cool stuff is like that. I mean, I don't expect that from every single game. I mean, again, if someone's able to pull it off and it's a fun title and stuff, like, okay, cool, and that's like great, and it's a great looking game too. But it's been proven time and time again now that
how many times, Kai? How many times?
It's been an amount of time and time again.
But yeah, I mean, if you just make a fun game and it has like a good art style and direction and everything and palette and all that, that's all that matters. So like that's what it really comes down to. Like, I mean, again, in some aspect, okay, yeah, sure, people do expect things to kind of be better and better when it's like, especially for numbered titles in a franchise,
or Sony titles in particular,
right?
They kind of set that expectation for themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, that should be like, just in those instances, like, it should be expected for every single game. Now, I do think, I don't know how any other people feel about this, but like, I feel like people, whenever the industry was saying like, "Oh, gamers are going to be expecting way too much from asking for Baldur's Gate 3," and games do like that, like, I'm like, bro, you got millions and billions of dollars.
I laughed so hard when I read that.
You just makes our job so much harder. Then do better. Like, at the end of the day, do better.
Yeah, that was a situation where you absolutely should tell them to do better, because that was great that Baldur's Gate 3 like launched at $60 and was such a big game, and
it's such a good game.
Just all there on day one.
It is a phenomenal, perfect, and no way flawed game. But it doesn't, I mean, graphically it looks nice, but it's not, it's not the best game in the world. Yeah, but the writing, the gameplay, but it's everything that needs is there, And I think that that's one of the unfortunate things I think about, like, kind of Xbox going the way it's going in a way, because kind of losing the console thing, because their first party is really kind of exemplifying like the variety thing, where they have games that are like hyper photorealistic, but then they have a lot of first party that isn't. Whereas like Sony has kind of like trained their fans and their console users to get that, that ultimate fidelity. Yeah. And so they kind of painted themselves into a corner where if a Sony first party game comes out and it doesn't look to the quality of Last of Us, God of War, Horizon, they're like, what the fuck is this?
Right? What's this garbage?
You think we're Xbox peasants? Like you think we're Nintendo peasants? You think you can get away with this?
Why are you ruining my life? Why are you ruining my life, Sony?
Yeah. And so it's like, you want us to go to PC? You want us to go to PC?
Don't go to PC. All right.
And so they have kind of a different conundrum there, because even their live service games have like this focus on fidelity. Like Helldivers looks amazing. Like it looks phenomenal. Concord looked really good. I mean, artistically fucking ugly, but graphically very good.
Yeah. It had good graphics to it. Yeah.
Yeah. If all their games feel expensive, you don't really sit down and think this is a cheap ass game. They all feel, even Days Gone, like their lowest rated and probably my favorite exclusive of theirs, that felt very expensive, because it was. Right. But and then you have situations too, like Velguard, where they're not even probably realistically expecting a profit on that. They're just, because it was in development and rebooted so many times, they just kind of want is a certain percentage of their money back.
Oh no!
But they probably expect to take a loss.
They're making on like 5-6 million copies sold.
Yeah, and even on that though, they wouldn't make their money back.
I thought they said 3. I thought they said they wanted 3.
It was 3.
I mean, I think they lowballed everybody. They more likely internally wanted it like 5-6 million. Or like they were
Because
expecting.
I didn't like only like the first couple of Dragon Age sell like 6 million. I thought like 3 million was the last good one, and they thought like 3 million, but then like 1.5. Obviously, 1.5 is not good. So, but I thought
so in
they were,
business
like, a little bit
projections, there's what you want, there's what you expect to happen, and then there's like worst case scenario. They're at worst case scenario.
Oh, yeah.
They were expecting like 3 million, and then they wanted, of course, more. Realistically wanted, right?
Yeah.
So probably around that 6 million, and even at that 3 million mark, they wouldn't have probably made their money back. I think I was reading just as many times as it was rebooted, but they were basically in a mode where like, we're not going to make money on this, but we want to recover some of our like a percentage of our investment, and they didn't even recover that.
No. And another part of that is the Edmonton office there's rumor might be closed down.
That's so sad because those dudes, I mean, that was my childhood, dude. I mean, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, that was those guys, right?
Yep.
Well, all of them left. They're not there anymore, but
but I mean, it was part of that studio.
Knights of the Old Republic, KOTOR,
Mass Effect 1 through 3.
Mass Effect, dude.
Like then there's Jade's Empire. Like there's so many things that the studio has made throughout the years. That a lot of people actually really enjoyed.
Yeah,
I mean they're obviously not the same company anymore.
And they just jumped off a cliff. They just jumped off a cliff. They flew into the building. Like it was just, just overnight. They were like, "Oh, here's Anthem."
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was so funny. They're like, "Oh man, the project name was called Dylan because it was going to be the Bob Dylan of video game."
Did you know? Did you know that when that first E3 trailer of Anthem played, the whole studio, like 90% of studios, like, wait, what is that?
I was like, what is this game?
What is that? Yeah, because they didn't know. Like a small team on the studio threw that together real quick because they had to have something because they'd been working for 5 years and didn't have anything to show for it. And so they threw together this kind of like hodgepodge of like B-roll footage of stuff they'd worked on. And like most of the studio saw that. They saw it the same time we did for the first time. They're like, wait a minute. That's what we're doing?
that's the new thing?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was, so I mean, it's just, I think that kind of exemplifies a lot of what's going on. I mean, obviously none of us are behind closed doors, but enough of these reports come out where like you see this weird, like,
we're getting
this weird this weird mismatch of expectation, of realism, and of like quality control, and it's just they're wasting a lot of time. They're not doing the stuff that people want, and it's kind of just all falling apart at the end. These projects are effectively, I think, just getting too big for what they need to be, and they have too many hands in the pot. They should just kind of, have a budget, let the creatives do what they want, but have a good managerial structure to kind of keep it all in line.
Like actual realistic milestones to make and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, again, none of us do this for a living, so I don't want to tell anyone how to,
At the end of the day, though, there is a connection
but
between the consumer and the developer. So
yeah, but I mean, clearly what you're doing isn't. Yeah, but clearly you're not doing what you're not doing what you want. You're not getting the results you want. So
no,
and I don't think it's just because there's a bunch of free to play games out there either. I mean, that's a big part of it. I think that in the wake of all that, the free to play market has captured a lot of people that would otherwise kind of be buying your single player games. But I think that there's a big enough market still to where if you budget properly, get it on the timeline and innovate, you can kind of capture that market pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. So. Again, like you said, you're not wrong. Like being too many hands or like too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to like all these projects. There's so many layers of like management and everything with like these large publishers and stuff. So that's definitely a big part of it. And yeah, they need a better budget themselves. Like we're gonna make the next big game. It's gonna make all the billions. Yeah. Like, no, man, just focus on making a game that's fun. Budget yourself better. Give realistic milestones for your teams so they don't have to have stupid ass crunch and stuff. Although, I mean, there are the times where lots of games have development hell. Even like really good games. Like, if you didn't know this, but Resident Evil 4 was started over like 4 times before they got what they got at the end of it for retail. It went through a huge development hell. It was originally going to be starting out kind of like, I think it was supposed to be part of 2 or 3 at some, I think, or 3. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 3 at one point, but then they
4 is such a radical departure.
Yeah, but then they made Nemesis, and then they like, okay, well, we're going to make another number title. And yeah, it's a fascinating story. You should look it up sometime. But yeah, there are some games that just have that development side. And yeah, but that also akins to some larger budgets, because if it goes to the development hells, it's technically going to be some wasted money there, in a sense that they haven't made a lot of progress on the project. So that can be part of it sometimes.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of like a chicken and egg thing, because the games cost so much to make. That's the investors in the games want to have way more, because you're not just going to give someone $500 billion or $1 million and be like, oh, here, go be creative, have fun,
right.
Do make the best game you can make. See you in 5 years. You're not going to do. So it's this weird. It is just this weird chicken and egg thing where you got to let the creative people be creative, but at the same time, you got to manage it better, but not too better. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know. I don't know the solution. Clearly, they don't either. But at the same time,
it's a problem that's going to solve itself, though, because these companies are not going to be able to sustain themselves making games that don't sell. That don't sell well enough to make back the money to make more games. So this problem will solve itself over time. Yeah. So it's really not. It's not really even a threat to the industry, as far as I'm concerned. These developers are kind of just digging their own graves, unfortunately. So they have to change and adapt and make products that the consumers and the gamers want. Period. That's the only way it's going to work.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree too. Like I said earlier, they need to fail. they need to fail.
Yeah, this isn't like the 2008 financial collapse where we had to bail out the insurance companies. Like these gaming companies, they could the whole entire bottom can fall off from these fucking companies, and I wouldn't give two shits, because the talented developers and the people that actually know how to make games, the actual people that code this stuff and actually do design, they're gonna find another way to make these games. There's many accessible tools for them to make games in. You have Unreal Engine. You have what is it? Is it Unity? What the heck is the other big video game engine? I think it is Unity, but either way,
Unity, Unreal,
Godot or Godot. That's actually becoming a bigger thing. A lot of people actually jump ship from Unity with that instead.
Indie games are massively on the rise, and some indie games are some of the best games that we've seen. So, I like the video gaming space to be a highly competitive space, because it will filter the competition itself, will filter out the bad actors.
Oh yeah.
These corptocracies out there that are trying to dictate down about all different try to please everyone, and in the end pleasing nobody. That stuff is just it's not sustainable for these companies. They're gonna try it, it's gonna fail, and then they're gonna have, unfortunately, studios are gonna shut down. There's gonna be consolidations. There's gonna be layoffs. But those people with talent are gonna find other jobs. I'm not I at the end of the day, it's like when one door closes, another one opens. I do feel bad for the initial layoffs that will happen because of some of these closures and some of these devs shutting down. But these people will get other jobs, and they'll make better games. And ultimately, that's going to be good for everybody. So I'm not too worried on that front.
And in some sense, for those people, like you're just talking about, again, it sucks for anyone to lose their job ever. Like that, nobody ever wants it to happen to anyone. It's just an awful thing to have to deal with. But a lot of those people, they could be like, fuck it, they could make their own studios, like get together with some other people, make their own studio, and start making their own games, So yeah, I do like they're also being competitive, or competition, just like with the indie space. And again, I'm tired of these corptocracies and stuff. That's just a problem in general. I feel like with large companies right now, they make you try to feel bad for them. Like, oh no, we're gonna be so bad, guys. We're so rich, but you
really should have bought our game.
Yeah, no, man,
yeah,
dude, no, I don't feel bad.
And then they got the game journal simping for them too.
Yeah, that's another big problem.
Yeah, gaming's an interesting.
Gaslighting us.
It's not essential. It's a hobby. It's a fun, a pastime.
Right.
I've said before, they could never release another game ever for the rest of my life, and I'd be fine.
And video games are art.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, I have plenty of backlog. I could chew on some of these games I have for a very long time.
I have thousands of hours of games to play.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Easy.
people are in the same boat. I mean, that's why Game Pass is failing, right? Because that's just not a lot of people play games that way in the same way they watch Netflix and stuff. And again, people, it is
That
bad
is so
when people
true.
lose their jobs. I mean, but the thing is, there may not be enough space now for like all these developers at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a luxury market. It's a highly competitive market. But I mean, there are a lot of them are white collar people with skills that can be applied to other industries. I mean, they'll find jobs. They're fine. As a consumer, I'd like to see it get better. But again, I mean, it's not really all doom and gloom. Really,
it's not doom and gloom.
There's plenty of good shit. I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
I'm just a lot more picky now. If I see your shit and it doesn't, it's like Ghost of Tsushima. I played that for like 10 hours. Like, no, I'm good. And just never went back to it because it just wasn't hidden for me. It's like I could play a million other things that would hit way harder than this. Whereas like maybe when there was less games out and I could afford less, I would play Ghost of Tsushima until I liked it. Because that's all I had.
Right. Right. The one game, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
feels like an NES disc, because that's what we used to do back in the day. Oh.
Yeah, you play it until you like it. You find things to love about it, and then
even if you couldn't get past the first level for like a week.
Yeah,
it's the only thing I got.
Yeah, but nowadays, I mean,
exactly.
being financially, well off, decent off, thankfully,
mega rich.
No, not mega rich at all, but and an adult, and this and this. Like, I have options. I can not play you if I give you an hour, 2 hours, and I'm just like, fuck this. I'm probably not gonna come back. Unless like a friend of mine's like, bro, you really need to give this a shot, and then I will. And so that's something they're gonna have to contend with. You got to hit out of the gate, I think, and so. But yeah, I think that I mean, that's really all I wanted to touch down on it. Unless you guys had anything else. I mean, I think we really popped off on that one. So.
I mean, it's a touchy subject.
Yeah,
I did want to add on what you just said though about being picky. I definitely am way more picky about games. Like back in my early 20s and stuff, I'm like, oh man, new games coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
Pre-order that shit right fucking now. Now, I don't pre-order anything. Last year was good for me. I actually had 3 pre-orders last year. My pre-orders were.
I had the opposite problem.
I love the Erd Tree.
Okay.
Erd Tree.
Okay, good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Software.
Yeah.
Stellar Blade.
Okay.
And Black Myth.
Okay.
Those are the 3 games I pre-ordered. That was the first time I pre-ordered 3 games in 1 year in a super long time.
Yeah. I pre-order everything I play, but I pre-order it 5 minutes before like it comes out because I want to go ahead and download it. So technically I pre-order everything. I'll usually do it the night before. Like if I know I'm getting it. Because I want to go ahead and get it downloaded. Although with my new internet, that's not really an issue anymore. My old internet was much slower. And so I kind of had to get that. If I wanted to play it day one, I had to download it the day before. So I would kind of like, it wasn't really a pre-order, but it was to get it down. So I really probably don't have to do that anymore.
It's basically a preload is what you were doing.
Essentially, yeah, but it probably stacked onto their pre-orders last minute numbers they showed to people, yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's before the game actually released. So
so
contribute to that number.
Yeah, but it's been a long time since I didn't pre-order Baldur's Gate because it was in early access and I would be tempted to play it. And I didn't want to be tempted to play it. If it was just sitting there playable, I was going to play it. And I want to play it till it was done because I knew it was going to be great. And so I'm trying to think about the last game I pre-ordered. It was probably, it might have been Destiny 1.
Really?
Think of it. Yeah.
What?
Dude, me and my buddy were so hyped for Destiny. Like we were so hyped for Destiny and we were so let down.
I was too. I was too, man. I was like, oh dude, it's fucking Bungie.
Yeah.
Go in there, be like a new Halo.
We took off. So cool. We worked together. He was my employee and like we took off. I approved his vacation and I like we took like 4 days off for that game for Destiny because we were so fucking excited for that game. And we got to the end of the campaign. We're like, that's it? The fuck?
Right?
Really? Okay, well,
What was
they're
the
gonna come out with
story? What
wrong.
happened?
Yeah, it was really disappointing. I was like, well, what else do you want to do with the other 3 days we have left on this vacation?
Well, I guess we can play some PvE, man, or PvP, dude.
Yeah,
And
we
then,
were really
try to go get those the good gear, the gear
yeah.
grind.
I think that there might have been one after that, but that's the only one I remember a long time ago. Of course, back in the day, I pre-ordered fucking everything, right? Midnight release type shit. Waited
Same.
in line for Mass Effect. I remember waiting in line for Mass Effect 2. Super excited. But yeah, I think that's it. I stopped pre-ordering stuff as well. You just never know. So
Because it's a wait and see thing now, man.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I've been burned too many times.
yeah. Well,
and again, this is how the industry's been. I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and
Yeah.
see what people say. What's going on? Does it actually
Yeah.
work when it fucking releases?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing that stopped me, honestly, is I'm all digital now. I don't buy any physical games, and so there's no why would you pre-order an unlimited game? Other than maybe for like the fucking skin that you get for your character. But like I don't pre-order digital games because why? They're unlimited. It's not going to run out.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's really only for if you want those bonuses. For me personally, whenever I was doing it last year, it was to show support and show the industry, and it's like, hey, I want stuff like this. Make stuff like this.
Yes, I want this kind of content, please.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had Shadow of the Erdtree pre-ordered for me as a gift from a friend.
Cool.
Nice. Which I was gonna get it anyway. But yeah, I would pre-order if I like anything from Software, which we're about to get into in a second. I would pre-order without hesitation. Anything from Larian for sure, absolutely. And that might be it, to be honest with you. These days.
There aren't too many developers or publishers that have like Forever Trust. Like From Software, they got the Forever Trust until they break it. So yeah, they get the pre-orders.
CD Projekt Red was there for a minute till Cyberpunk.
They fucked that up real bad.
That was another game I took vacation for, and I took that Friday. I didn't take like a full vacation. I took that Friday off. Yeah, it was like a 3-day weekend to play it. And dude, I've never been more mad at a game. I bought that game twice that day because I got it for the PS4 Pro.
That was like one of the worst things.
Yeah, and I sat down and I was like, all right, so I went and bought it on the PC. Like, I was like, I'm gonna play this on the PC, fuck it. And then that one was fucked too, and so I refunded both. And
I don't blame you. I actually played through that mess of a game.
Fuck that! I didn't
see. I was like, how bad is this game? Like, it was mostly stable for me for the most part. But there were some bugs and stuff like I ran into. It was like,
I didn't play it until the Phantom Liberty came out and that whole package, and I loved it. Like after that, like
I need to give it another chance. I've heard since like the like those big updates, and I heard Phantom Liberty is a really, really good expansion.
Yeah, the people that are like saying it's like perfect now are over. You can see the duct tape. You can see you can see it. Right? Like it's not you can see these systems like barely holding together where they went in and but it is a great game. They've built a cool world. I love the story. The character builds are fun. There's a lot of diversity. It is kind of the Deus Ex game I kind of wanted after Mankind Divided. It just took them 5 years to do it after it released. So
right.
We'll see. They're definitely not going to get my support for The Witcher 4 until I see more of it. For sure.
I gotta see more of that first. Before I make a decision on that. I actually bringing up the Witcher. What was it? Blood
and Wine.
No. I'm actually made by the director of Witcher 3.
Oh, I know what you're talking. I saw that. That looks dope.
It's like
yeah, I don't remember the name. I know exactly what you're. They just showed it off. I don't know what it's called. Hold on. But yeah, The Witcher 3 was one of my I love The Witcher 3. I was one of those Witcher 3 simps.
I ended up putting like 130 hours in. I was really surprised about that.
I put like 400 hours into that game.
Did you like do everything?
The Blood of the Dawn. I played it through twice. Blood of the Dawn Walker.
That's it. Yeah, dude, that game looks.
Yeah, it does look really good.
I'm excited. I want some more of that.
It looks a lot like The Witcher, but
it's definitely got Witcher vibes, especially that music, dude.
Yeah, it looks. They said we're gonna make one of those. Goddamn,
make our own Witcher game, and they did, and it looks like it looks pretty good.
It looks good. Yeah, I love The Witcher though. Witcher was a very emotionally powerful game for me. Like I loved it, and I played it through twice. So so that's why I had it was like 380 hours or something in it.
Oh my god! Yeah, you put some time into that puppy.
Well, dude, those 2 expansions were like fuck. That Blood and Wine was like 50 hours by itself.
Yeah, it was as big as the second one, as Witcher 2. It's where it was big, or that expansion.
Yeah, it was a 50-hour game by itself. So added on to an already 200-hour game.
Yeah, that's without Stone of Heart.
Yeah, I had that too. Yeah, so I mean, playing it through. I mean, the first time I played it through, I didn't have the expansions because it was day one. The second playthrough was much longer. But I'll never play it through again because it's just too long. Like I did it twice. I did some choices.
Way too much stuff to do.
Yeah, I wanted to go back, but yeah, man, it's just too long. And Blood and Wine, that's like top tier DLC expansion.
So good. It's so good. Whew. All right, so we need to be done with this topic. We need to move on to yours.
Wait, before we move on though, I just wanted we were talking about what games we pre-ordered. 2024. We were eating fucking good, okay? I just while you guys were talking, I just happened to bring some of my, cuz I am a physical collector, so I do a lot of pre-orders. I have
you bought a lot of stuff.
So let's just go through just off the top of the head. So Astrobot was pre-ordered. Space Marine was pre-ordered. Mario and Luigi Brothership was pre-ordered. Romance Saga 2 was pre-ordered, which was a remake. I got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which was pre-ordered. I got Stellar Blade, which was pre-ordered. I got Yudikin Chronicle, which was pre-ordered. Silent Hill 2, which was pre-ordered. Metaphor, which was pre-ordered. This is all 2024, by the way, and the list just goes on. So I think us gamers were blessed with a lot of good games in 2024, and I think that's a testament to how gamers will dictate the market, and we will get better games because we're going to buy the games that are good, and we're not going to buy the games that aren't good. So I'm not too worried about the industry, to be honest, but I do think we'll see some pricing tiering happening. I think we will see. I think we'll see price tiering eventually, where you'll have probably a $60 level, a $70 level, and maybe a $100 level game release. But we'll see. We'll revisit this topic towards the end of 2025, and we'll see where we all stand. But
we'll probably have a big.
I had
GTA
a lot of pre-orders.
Episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have,
I just wanted to just show that I pre-ordered. I pretty much had 1 to 2 pre-orders every month of 2024war. That's not even all the games that I did pre-order.
I got this game. I got that console. Dude, I got these shoes.
Wait, are you talking about
guys? I had food. Some shoes, dude. Guys, I had water. I ate food. I was able to flush my toilet. That's right. I powered my window unit.
Oh god!
In his fucking manor house.
Split up into apartments. Okay.
With his window unit.
High.
He's broke because he has to pay property taxes on a manor house.
Oh god! But man. I mean, my Camp Killer 8-bit Camp Killer sneakers are absolutely legendary. I love them so much.
Oh my god, we're not talking about shoes. We're not talking about shoes. All shoes. I only wear.
I didn't bring up the shoes. Kai did. So
I only wear Converse. So moving on.
But no, the point of my statement was that we ate good in 2024. Yeah. I had a lot of pre-orders. Yes, I'm a very privileged individual, and I am a physical collector. But all those games that I bought were good games. I did not. Well, we could argue about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but that's another conversation, another topic. But at the end of the day, most of those games were considered. They were acclaimed. Like Astrobot and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth were both like contenders for Game of the Year. So let's just leave it at that. I also have Wukong on physical. Finally, I did pre-order that too, but that's technically a 2024 game, but I didn't get it until 2025, so I won't include that in the stack. But nonetheless,
you bought it in 2024. You just didn't get it until now.
Yeah.
So you still
No, actually, I ordered it. I technically ordered it in December, so I did order it in 2024, and I didn't. Yes, so that is correct.
Yeah,
But
people
came in like a week ago.
People shame like pre-ordering a lot. We almost kind of did here, but I don't think there's anything wrong with pre-ordering. No. I think you should just be more selective. I think people should just like really don't pre-order Ubisoft games. For the love of God, don't pre-order Ubisoft. But like, if you've done your research, if it looks really good, if it's from a developer you like absolutely. I mean, again, I would have pre-ordered Baldur's Gate just to show support if I wasn't tempted to play it, right? Because it was early access. But so I mean, I think pre-ordering's fine as long as you seem mostly happy with most of those. I heard the Luigi Mario game was pretty disappointing for a lot of people, but
it was.
I mean, you pre-ordered like 80 games, so I mean, one dud isn't too bad to say.
Exactly.
So, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little unfortunate, but Nintendo had that complete for a while, and they probably just needed to get it out, and they did it, and it is what it is. It was actually really promising too, because it was supposedly developed by the same team that helped with Octopath. So it is, it is a dud, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's Nintendo. Nintendo, whenever they have an issue like that, they just sweep it under the rug and they just keep grinding on to the next thing.
I mean, it only cost them $300. So.
Exactly.
And with that being said,
they're making games on the pennies.
But yeah, that was my final point on the topic. I just wanted to say, as far as the industry is concerned, I think we're in good company. 2024 was a banger year, and I know 2025 is going to be one too. So I'm ready for it.
All right.
Let's move on. I think we just wrapped up. That was a meaty segment there.
I knew it would be. Yeah.
Now I'm a little worried because we have another meaty segment and we got footage for the viewers. So Kai, let me just get my little thing up in here and let me take a look. Kai, you're going to be talking about the Shad PS4 project and Bloodborne's emulation leap. So, take it away.
All right. So, as mentioned earlier, I was playing some Bloodborne, and my way I've been playing Bloodborne has actually been through Shad PS4 and has been on my PC. I don't have the most powerful PC. You might not be able to make it out, but that's a 3070 Ti in there, and I have an alright processor, and I have a decent amount of RAM. So, I have a mid-tiered PC. And just to give out some more history here with the Shad PS4, because I actually learned something myself here. I actually thought the Shad PS4 emulator came out early in this year, but that person who made it actually started working on it in 2022, which is pretty crazy. But in 2024, they came out with the 0.1 release, and they were able to launch Sonic Mania, One Piece, Unlimited World, Resident Evil Origins, and Persona 5. But nothing could really play. They still need to work on the shader compiler and all of that. And then Bloodborne could access character menu, which was a huge thing for him, but had a lot of graphical bugs and causing issues with that, which still kind of became a problem for me with my own experience. Then they eventually, and this is all still within July, like at the end of July, they were able to have Red Dead Redemption start running and going at 25 frames per second. And then it was able to launch Dark Souls. The remaster. So they also came up with a 0.2 version, and Bloodborne was still kind of being able to run a little bit, but they were able to start adding the 60 FPS patch onto there to it, and not all textures were loading properly, but it was still kind of making strides. And then like the really big jump was the most recent version of it re-released, which was the 0.5. It's basically in beta now. Version of this. And Bloodborne is almost flawless, which is so great in so many ways. And again, so with it being emulation, you have a lot of really control of what you can do with like your resolution. If you want to increase certain like graphical details or lighting and stuff like that, you can do that. But honestly, I didn't do any of that. The only thing I did was I brought up I upscaled the resolution to 1080, and I added the 60 FPS obviously I would want that. I've added the 60 FPS patch into there. And I put in a cheat or something, not really a cheat, but something that makes sure that the DLC will forcibly load when it needs to and work properly. Now there was a graphical issue I had with that. As I mentioned earlier, it was called like vertex explosion. Also, are you gonna have footage playing or no? uh,
We're gonna have the PowerPoint. Are we gonna have the PowerPoint?
we're,
While he's
we're
getting
gonna
that up, I was gonna ask you, real quick,
Yeah.
does the because I know in their past games, like a lot of their gameplay stuff is tied to the frame rate. Like in Dark Souls, whenever people would like hack it to 60 frames a second, and even when they did the Dark Souls 2 thing, like weapon degradation was like doubled and stuff. Does it do anything weird like that?
Actually, no. Then I was surprised by that because like usually like damage and like weapon degradation, like you said, is tied to the frame rate, and so that was vanilla Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
Did have an issue when it first came out. Whenever they had it 60 frames per second on PC only, weapons degraded much faster because it was doubled.
And they already did it way too fucking fast to begin with.
Yeah,
so.
They did. It was like, man, why is my weapons breaking all the time? That was the reason. But yeah, no, there wasn't an issue with that, which is really, really nice to have. Like, like the most you actually had to worry about with having 60 frames per second is that timing. A lot of the timing is kind of off when it comes to like fighting certain enemies and bosses.
Yeah,
because it's faster.
Yeah. My issue with like, I don't know if we want to get into this just yet, but with just all of that, is that you don't know like what little things it's breaking in the game. That one always bothers. Like mods, I feel the same way about mods. It's like, especially a game with a lot of systems, a lot of RNG, a lot of stuff in the background, like a Dark Souls or even like a Skyrim. It's like you don't know like what it's breaking necessarily. And it may not be obvious, and that always like it may be nothing, but it always sticks in the back of my mind. And that's why I never mod, I never emulate, because I just I wouldn't be able to play through it, in a pure way, I feel, without being paranoid that
no, understandable. But I mean, but like I said, it's almost flawless. So there was like one mod I had to actually use, which again was because of a bug issue with textures called vertex explosions. And I didn't think there was a fix for it, but luckily I posted something on Threads, and someone said, hey, look up this mod on Nexus Mods. I was like, oh shit, wait, there's a fix for this?
Yeah.
Because what it would
Let's
do
go.
is that sometimes it would not be that big of a deal, and you'd see like some weird texture stretching out, and it only happened with character models and NPCs, because NPCs are your character models as well, essentially. And but no, there are other times where those textures get stretched out so far that it really just takes up all the space on the screen and you can't see shit. The only way I could get around that was like just by either had to like exit the game I was in, then reload it, or then just completely close out the emulator and then open it back up to get around that. But finding that mod that someone told me about and adding it in there when it fixed it. And that's why it's almost completely flawless. Like I did also experience some crashing here and there and some stuttering. The most crashing I had though was in one specific spot, and that was the research facility in the DLC for the Hunter's Nightmare. I don't know what was going on with that particular area. But my computer was in the emulator was like, nope. I had to be very weird about it. So like one thing that was actually a pattern was an elevator. So if you're familiar with From Software games and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
With the elevators, they have a button mechanism, and if you're gonna die to a boss, possibly for a shortcut that involves an elevator, a lot of people will be savvy. Like, all right, I might have to come back. So instead of waiting for this thing to come back up to me, I'm just gonna go ahead and run across this button, jump off, and then it's gonna be up there. Well, for one of the floors in the research facility, if you like activated that mechanism and walked off of the elevator, it would just crash. just
Nice. Yeah.
like,
So
and
you're
it
not doing that
replicated.
here.
Yeah, like it replicated. And I'm like, okay, so I would not activate it, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Like I don't understand why that is, but it is emulation, so okay, I'm gonna give it a pass. But for the most part, yeah, that game runs really well, and I'd love if we had footage showing of this. To show
Yeah,
you
I was
of
was
how
waiting for you
great.
to. I'll show it now.
No,
Because
Yeah,
I
throw
want
it
to make
up.
sure we have.
Throw it up.
I want to make sure we have a very clippable Kai first. So,
Oh man, no, I'm just talking about what's going on.
all right, we got
Oh,
on low
no.
volume here. So here's the footage of Bloodborne.
This is expert gameplay, everyone. This
Yep,
is
I am the best.
this is top
Bloodborne
tier.
player.
Yo,
of all time.
you are
Well,
using my favorite weapon in the game, though.
Oh, that is
So,
the best weapon in the game.
Yeah, you are using my favorite weapon in the game. Absolutely.
It was definitely my favorite when I
God,
played through it.
I love this game.
This
Me too.
looks absolutely amazing.
I
Yeah.
really need them to
Look how smooth
re-release
that
this.
is. Look how, but this is an emulator, dude. Look how smooth this shit
I was gonna say, is there something we should be looking for to kind of make it obvious that it's emulated and not running, like on a PS3 or whatever?
I mean, I edited it to where it looks like it's full screen. That's one thing that's kind of weird about the emulator. You can't go in full
Mhm.
PS4 emulator. I don't know why you can't, but yeah, I zoomed it in some, so it looks like it's
Yeah,
full
this looks
screen.
almost
It looks like,
flawless.
yeah, dude, it runs really, really well. Oh yeah, I also kicked the shit out of these guys. Yeah,
I'm trying to
Fuck.
just see if I can
Yeah,
pick out
some
anything that's
basic-
like
some
oh
basic
like
enemies.
a little some janky
No, this is the
frames.
Shadows of
This thing
Yharnam,
is
dude.
running really well.
Oh yeah,
fine.
yeah. Let me zoom in on this. I'm on my phone here. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay.
I get pushed around a little bit, but they dying fast.
I miss this game so much.
Well, dude, if you have a PS5, you can play it. It's backwards compatible.
Yeah, but it's not 60 and it's not, it's not what it is.
No,
They
I
need to-
understand.
I
Yeah.
refuse to play this game. And also the frame pacing issues as well. It's not just about 60 because I don't know if it's just the footage that you captured, but it looks like it still has frame pacing issues. It may be hitting the frame rate. You know what I mean? But
Like getting
because
throttled or
because that
limited.
that's because that was a big issue with it on the PS4. Because even at 30, even a smooth 30, it was still felt a lot choppier than other 30 frame games because the frame pacing was really. From Software has always had frame pacing issues. Elden Ring has it. Dark Souls has had it, but it was particularly bad in Bloodborne for whatever reason. And so no matter what frame rate you're at, you're still going to have like bad. And I'm assuming the emulation layer is probably just only going to accentuate that issue.
To be honest,
but-
it didn't feel that bad. Like I said,
Okay.
I had like I mean it still feels like the same frame pacing to me for the most part.
Yeah.
And like I said, because it is technically like running a little bit faster,
Mhm.
I did have to actually like adjust myself fighting certain enemies and bosses. But but no, like I said, for the most part, this feels really, really, really good, and it kills me that Sony won't go out there.
Yeah.
Actually,
there's
put this thing on PC. Like, just do it. Everybody wants. You know how much fucking money you would make if you just put this on PC?
Yeah, what is
Well,
their hate for this that they won't?
I don't know. I guess they're
going
like,
on
it's still a console seller, boys.
No, let's
No,
make
it's-
Concord
it's-
instead.
It's gotta be. It's honestly, truly, it's gotta be something I would imagine, like on From Software's side, like they
No,
have
it's
to have
not.
some kind of like
It's not.
right of refusal or something. Because
it's
I
not.
would
There's
think
actually-
Sony would just
there's
put this out.
No, I don't think it is because there's actually been like an interview with Miyazaki, and he actually said like I would like to probably do something more with PC. That's not for me to have that discussion. It's on the IP. It's completely up to Sony, dude. Like, Miyazaki would want to do it, but he can't because it's owned by Sony.
Well,
So it's Sony that's holding it up. It's like they're
first off,
covering this game.
your internet's like
It was like, oh, we missed
your
all
internet's
that
kind of
demon,
bad.
dude. Is it?
Yeah, we're getting like
Or maybe?
I guess we're
Yeah.
getting. I don't know if we're getting drops or whatever.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, the stream
internet's
is
not-
fine. Okay, I think it may even out. You're coming through fine. Kai is like frozen.
Yeah, Kai's frozen. Well, no, he's just in 480 right now. He's not frozen for me. He's just in 480.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Technically, I
think he's
still got the gameplay
recovering. I think
footage.
he's recovering for me. Yeah. Yeah, the gameplay. I mean, everything else looks fine. Okay, so Tay's saying that it's just Kai on her end. So you may be having a
that's
little bit of
surprising.
internet glitch here.
Is it okay now? No.
Yeah,
you're
it
still
seems to be.
looking a little 480, but like I can hear you and I can still see you. I mean, you're
Okay.
480 at 60
I don't know what's eating up my
FPS. Someone on your
Okay,
internet
well,
node decided to
I'll do
download
that.
5 Steam games at once.
Shit.
But yeah, this looks really good.
Okay. What about now?
Yeah, I'm
guys?
reading
Am I better?
this. Yeah, I remember reading this interview with him.
Looking a little
He
bit
does
better.
kind of
Kai.
hint,
Yeah.
and he does kind of hint that it's like out of his control a
Sony.
little bit. What I was kind of thinking was that like they want to do it, but they don't necessarily like have time to do it, and they don't want Sony to do it without them, maybe. And so like it's this weird kind of situation where it's like, well, we want to be the ones that do it, but we also don't have time to do it because we have a million other projects.
I don't think that's the case
Because
with
I
how
can't
From Software's,
imagine why Sony would not put this, at least just re-release it with like a 60 frames per. Like, why wouldn't they do that? Unless it was some kind of.
It can make the question like why haven't they done the same with Demon Souls at this point? Like it's been out since it was a launch title for the PS5. Their game's been out for less time than that game, and they've been put on PC, but not Demon Souls. Like it's like they're coveting these From Software games like they're ours and only ours. Precious,
Yeah.
or
Oh my god.
Process.
There we go.
Oh
Is what
man.
they're doing. But yeah, no, man. Like, I don't understand what's the holdup. I have no idea why they wouldn't want to do this. It just seems like it's easy money. Like again, it would sell a shit ton. I would buy this game again. Tons of other people would buy it again. People who never have owned a PlayStation, like a PS4 or PS5, who only play PC. They'll definitely play that game if they like From Software games. Like,
it would do really well.
Yeah, and they should just do it. And it sucks that they haven't. And there's not like an actual official release for this, but man,
I wonder,
it's kind of been the savior for it at this point. In all honesty,
I wonder if it's like a disagreement between like Bandai Namco and Sony. Like, there has to be something there that is some kind of like between the parent company and the owner of the IP that's going on here.
Well, that's the thing. So Bandai Namco has nothing to do with Bloodborne, and they don't own From Software. They just own the Dark Souls titles and Elden Ring. They own those IP. Kadokawa owns From Software.
Yeah.
So no, it wouldn't be an issue with Bandai Namco.
Well, that was just me throwing a name out there. I probably should have said Kadokawa, like whoever the fucking parent company is.
And again, I don't see why Kadokawa wouldn't want them to go and work on that. And again, I also don't think it'd be an issue with them not being able to, like, From Software be able to do it. Like, they've grown as a company at this point. They probably have a lot like going on right now. Like their biggest thing we know of right now is Elden Ring Reign, but
developers.
But yeah, I don't know what their holdup is. Sony, release the Bloodborne. Just do it, man. just go ahead and do it and make everybody happy.
We're making the official call to action.
They have 423 employees.
Yeah, that's a lot, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people, and you could
studio.
take a small portion of people to go and make that port. And
it is a lot, but depending on what you're working on,
sure. I mean, if they have a lot of projects in the works,
because I mean they've recently put out Elden Ring, the Shadow of the Erd Tree. They're putting out that Battle Royale thing and Armored Core.
Yeah,
and they have a new IP in development that they've said. So I mean, they have pretty heavy workload. I mean, I feel like, I mean, we'll probably never know, or maybe we will if they do like some expose or something. But I feel like something else is going on there with the rights or something like that. Because I mean, I feel like Sony like
yeah,
Sony
there's definitely
knows.
something at play here.
Yeah, because because it would be easy enough for them to at least just do a 60 frames little tiny 4K update to the game and just put it out, at least on PS5. If they're not going to do PC, at least do PS5.
Right, and they haven't even done that. It's like, what the fuck are you doing with this?
And
like,
so that, I mean, again, that kind of indicates to me that there's got to be something going on behind the scenes with the rights, or with like, again, some right of refusal from software wants to do. I don't know, or maybe they want to do something bigger. Maybe they want to do like a full on fucking remake. I don't fucking know. I mean,
I really want a sequel, but
I don't think we're gonna get a sequel anytime soon.
I want it. It should be a thing. But
well, so do I. I would love like
mine.
It would. But yeah. Again, I don't know if it's necessarily a rights thing either, because again, Sony owns Bloodborne. Japan Studio, that's Sony's studio. Well, it's not a studio anymore.
They don't exist. They don't exist anymore. Yeah,
they don't exist anymore. But that was Sony Studio. So I don't think it's necessarily a rights thing. Like again, there might be something else that I'm missing, but it makes no sense. It's a no-brainer for them to put it this on.
Yeah, well, we have rights issue as one option, and we have they hate money as the other option.
What company hates money?
Yeah, to me, it's like there's got to be something else going on there, because I can't imagine they wouldn't just do that. Like, I mean, what reason would they? Like, what other reason would they not do it?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the reason's going to be.
Like Occam's right. Again, I don't either, but to me, it has to be something that we're not seeing. I've never even heard
a good theory as to what is causing them not to move forward with this either.
No.
So.
Exactly. And then again, the same thing goes with Demon Souls. I mean, Demon Souls was a launch title on the PS5. All, like, again, exclusives that were released after that have now been released on PC, but not Demon Souls.
Because in this interview with Miyazaki, like he says, he specifically says that if he says he wants a PC port of Bloodborne, he'll get in trouble, but it's nothing he's opposed to. So that's like a really weird way of putting it.
Yeah, that's so ominous.
He says,
if I can't do it, something will happen.
Yeah, the quote is the quote is specifically is if I say I want one, I'll get in trouble, but it's nothing I'm opposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a little.
Gonna yell at him for that. That's weird.
That sounds like
he's the president from software.
Yeah, that sounds like there's some overlords.
It sounds like Sony's got some kind of carrot dangling over their heads or something. That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like a stick, but
yeah, exactly. It sounds more like a stick, because there's definitely something going on there. Like there is some overlord type thing happening there for sure.
Yeah,
but
because why would you say scared or get in trouble? I mean,
right? That is some ominous and odd wording, but I mean, it's Miyazaki.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of known for doing shit like that. But again,
he's known for that.
But at least again, we have this emulator, and I know, Villain, you're a purist.
I am a purist.
But I mean, I'd be, because I don't know nobody else with a fucking 4090. All right. So, who want to like
here
try
we
this
go.
out? I'd be
wealth shaming.
I'm not really. That's just saying. I don't know many people with 4090, but I'd be really
I don't either.
to see how your system handles it compared to mine, and if you were to get to
3070 bros unite,
and if there are like as many crashes as I experienced. I have another friend who has a 2070, and I'm like, dude, I want you to try this emulation out because you like this game. Just I want to know how it works, because like I only know about my machine. I don't know about anyone else's.
I mean, if you want me to download it for testing, bro, I'll do that. I mean, I won't like sit down and like play it, but I mean, I'll fuck around in it.
Get some benchmarks,
Yeah.
Give you. I mean, I'd just be curious to see how it plays
for science. For science.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's for my research, guys.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna like sit down with some Starbucks and be like, I'm playing Bloodborne again. I'll fuck around in it. Yeah. I am interested in it for sure, and I'll give them like another year to announce something, and maybe I'll jump into it. And actually play it. But
give them a timeline, a deadline.
You'd be pleasantly surprised, and you start playing that shit, and you're like, "This is
possibly
really good."
Again, it goes back to the last topic, though, right? There's so much to do and play, right? If it's not going to be in the way I want it, I can just go do something else. I can go play another character in fucking Dark Souls 3 because I didn't play that enough, and that is on PC. So, and I love Dark Souls 3.
Me too.
So I mean, there's so much I could go do that is a pure experience.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
pinky out, bitches, pinky out. Hey, it is a central heating and air experience.
Little
Oh,
bougie.
hold on there.
Oh
Throwing shade at
my
my window
God.
unit, bro. Throwing shade at my window unit, dude.
Oh.
I had
Don't you
I had to.
pay me.
But yeah, so to complete that point, yeah, there's just so much other shit I could do, but I'll test it out for you. I don't mind fucking around and just take a look at it.
I'd be super interested because it's just a fascinating topic, and like in such a short amount of time, like this again, like I said earlier, it basically was already in development for like 2 years. But once it came out with the 0.1 version, it just made so much fast progress, and it's really important for game preservation. When it boils down to everything, because there are going to be some titles that eventually may not come over to next generations or be released or like Bloodborne. It may never, ever, 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 ever be released on PC.
Yeah,
true.
So having these tools available, and again, this is a huge leap in emulation because like PlayStation's really good with their
this
security.
looks nice. This looks good.
Yeah,
it does look good.
I'm surprised.
It does look good.
Yeah, and I've been surprised. I mean, I played it. That's me playing it.
Yeah,
know.
this is Kai's footage, by the way.
Yeah, I was very surprised to see how well it played. Again, whenever it had those vertex explosions happen, I was very sad. Like, man, if this didn't happen, it'd almost be flawless. And again, I got that mod that someone told me about. Like, this is almost flawless. So
yeah,
it's very close. Like, I feel like once they figure out more of the stability issues for it, it's basically going to be like the PC port they wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like with pre-ordering, I don't actually begrudge anyone who plays it. Like, I actually, it's just for me personally, right? Like, I don't. If you want to mod and emulate, like, I do not give a fuck. Especially if they're not providing the product, to you to play in that way. Hey, by all fucking means, do what you got to do. But just to put that out there because it sounded like maybe I was shaming it, but I don't. I don't care. It's not for me.
Yeah, and if we want to kind of just again talk about a little bit about the pre-ordering, like I wasn't begrudging it. If you want to pre-order, do it. If it's something you're gonna like. For me personally, I don't do that. And again, modding and again, modding's great. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game, probably of all time. And I tell people all the time who've never actually played the original Final Fantasy VII, like, dude, you can go download this great mod tool, manager and everything called Seventh Heaven. It's super easy. It just links up to your Steam, and it's basically a remaster of the game, and it's fantastic. Like there are gonna be like some issues here and there with some models, but like for the most part, it's a really good experience if you've never played it before. And if you're like, I don't want to see all these blocky polygons, it doesn't look like anything, But there's that option, and it's great. And it can really actually like make some older games look like or feel like remasters if you're not going to get that remaster experience from the companies that made them in the first place. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, emulation is pretty much the story of if the company won't do it, the community will do it themselves, and here we are. I mean, this is obviously a product of love from the community here that they've actually were able to get this game running in this condition on emulation, which is great. I mean, game preservation is important. That's why, when it comes to emulation, I'm an ardent supporter of emulation. Obviously piracy is an issue, but I don't consider this piracy, to be honest. No. This is game preservation. And the fact that if Sony made this available to buy tomorrow, that would be a different story, but they haven't. So, that's what I love about the gaming community. They'll figure out a way, they'll figure out a way to get what they want.
Finds a way.
And this is just great. So I'm very impressed with this. I might try it myself. I have a 3072.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
So
I mean, it worked great in mine. So I'd be happy to hear what you say about it as well. Even though you don't play these type of games, but I would still like to see how it runs.
I definitely will give it a shot.
You can out other games too. Like there's like 177 games that are playable on it right now, which is an insane number. and there are
Wow,
200 that
hilarious.
can launch. So
could you run that on a Steam Deck? Play you some Bloodborne on the Steam Deck?
You couldn't
I
do it
don't
on
know if it
Steam
has
OS. You'd
Well,
have to.
yeah.
You'd have to obviously load.
Yeah, you have to side load it, but I mean,
yeah, and
I don't even know if you. I think you'd have to
I
try to
don't-
run the Windows version on
Yeah.
the Steam Deck.
I don't own a Steam Deck, but yeah, I mean, I was just curious. I mean, the overhead at this point sounds like it might be too much, but for a Steam Deck,
it could possibly run in there. I have no idea.
Yeah, if it does, I don't anticipate it running really well. I mean, there'd have to be another mod that optimizes it for the Steam Deck, I would think.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it'd be really cool if it did work because there are a lot of emulators on Steam Deck. But I don't know if the PS4 one would. But also, again, who knows? I mean, it's in beta form right now at this point, and it's still got some way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't anticipate that being on the Steam, like running well on the Steam Deck right now. But I mean, just looking at it right here is I mean, I would probably play this on PC. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
It's been pretty smooth for the most part. Like, oh man, it's been such a great experience. I've actually had to like how you are with with your Baldur's Gate 3, man. Like I had to like basically stop playing that game so I could try to do work for my other projects.
Yeah.
I was enjoying too much time. I was like, oh,
Yep.
this is kind of like work because I'm recording for the podcast. So I was like, I gotta stop because like I'm almost done with the game at this point.
Oh my god! I saw
such a
this B-roll and I'm like,
game.
wow, this is pretty long for B-roll. Okay, I guess. Well, I'm now just playing the
He
whole
just
damn
played
thing
the
now.
game. Yeah, he just played the game. It's not
I
even
just
B-roll.
basically
He
played
just
the game.
captured the whole game. Yeah.
I did not capture the whole game. I actually started capturing once I got that Vertex Explosions mod fixed. And I was like,
because I don't really see any visible flaws in the footage that you recorded.
No.
So
like
far,
at
it looks
that point, yeah. When I
almost
started recording
flawless.
for all of this, there were no issues with that anymore. Like for the most part, if you do see any issues, it's going to be possibly with some of the frame pacing and some stutter. But I don't think any of the gameplay footage I had in there had any stutter. So yeah,
nice. Yeah, no, it's.
There also
it's
was some weird things. In Canehurst with the screaming ladies, with the knives and the slit throats and whatnot. They sometimes didn't have their dresses rendered. I don't know why. You just see them kind of walking around in bloomers.
I think I know why.
Modest.
I think I know why.
I just wanted to see some of that. See some of that, digital
did
stuff.
a little modern.
That's right. Modern. I couldn't help myself. I'm a deviant. All right, I'm a degenerate. But no, like I said, they actually didn't have bloomers on, so they made the ladies modest underneath there.
Yeah,
but it was kind of funny seeing those dresses not like actually render, but like for the most part for enemies, that was the most I ever saw for them having any problems.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying that. And it does look good. Like I said, I mean, for the people into it, it does seem like it's really coming along. So it's going to be a viable way, probably another month or two. Yeah,
it's definitely worth it. If you have a mid-range, if you love the Bloodborne, and you've always wanted it on PC,
you love the Bloodborne.
That's right.
I love the Bloodborne.
You should definitely check it out. You should check. I love the Bloodborne.
Oh no!
Oh no! The incantation has been invoked.
That's why we can't do it, guys. I don't like the voice because I can kind of do it. Okay,
you do it better than the rest of us.
Yeah, you do it spot on.
Again, for the third time today, I felt like Trump was in the room with me. And, I don't like it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I do these things. All right. So anyway, but yeah, no, if you do enjoy Bloodborne and if you see, this is definitely an experience for you to go try if you have a strong enough powerful PC. I don't know how it plays on some other units. Again, that's why I wanted another person to try it on their system so I could have a comparison.
I'll give it a shot for sure.
I'm super curious. But yeah, it's totally worth it. And I could talk about Bloodborne for fucking 3 hours. I love this.
Me too. I've been refraining because we have a podcast, that we have to be mindful of.
Well, since we have a little time to fill in this topic, though, I just kind of want to understand, why do you love Bloodborne so much? Do you want to give us a brief background as to why that game means so much to you?
Man, that's actually a pretty good question. Bloodborne, I don't know. There's just something about its gameplay loop. I really love the HP Lovecraft Eldritch shit going on with it. That's some really cool stuff.
I
like
saw
the
that. That
Victorian
looks so
area.
sick.
Yeah, I love the Victorian era. They have going on there. The Gothic architecture and everything. Really speaks to my inner edgelord. And I
Speaks to my
like
outer edgelord.
I also like the idea of there being beasts and stuff like that, and having to do with the lore is really. I mean, all from somewhere. Most From Software games, especially with the Dark Souls and Soulsborne games, they have very rich lore. So that's always pretty interesting. But I like that one the most out of all of them. Again, because it has like a lot of HP Lovecraft stuff going on with it, which is really cool. You don't always see in everything, and it's not always done well. But when someone is able to do it and have their own spin, it's really impressive. And they did that, especially in this game. The weapon system is one of the most unique weapon systems in any game. I love the trick weapon system, and I wish they would kind of do it with something else within this realm, but it's only been in Bloodborne. But it's so cool because you have such interesting movesets with that system, because you're not super familiar. Every weapon has its kind of gimmick. Again, I used something rock one around that really old, big old greatsword.
Yeah.
It's the Nintendo of weapon systems.
That's right. The Nintendo of weapon systems.
It's called a Ludwig Holy Blade, but that whole thing being a greatsword, that's the trick part of it. So it's actually like a longsword when it comes down to it. And with a longsword, you have more of a short sword. It's really, really fast, super fast attacks and everything. And it's a little bit more precise, and has both these actually have piercing damage. And you use way less, stamina when it's in that mode. But then you can change to it within the midst of actually doing a move combo, and actually do another big move going into your the different move or the different.
So insane combos.
Yeah, I get some really cool combos and stuff that you don't actually get.
Those feel so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's really cool when you pull them off. And yeah, I for some people, and I kind of get this too, there wasn't a whole lot to do with an encumbrance system, which honestly I was fine with. I mean, you don't have to have that in every game, because they just really wanted to look. They focused on the speed, and that's at that time, and it still kind of is one of the more fast paced Soulsborne games out there. I guess Elden Ring and Sekiro kind of took the cake on that, and I mean, well, Elden Ring is just a masterpiece, of everything they've done for the past 10 years and put together.
Yeah, it's a culmination. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Bloodborne is I've played it the most out of all of them, except maybe Dark Souls.
Yeah, bro, you're making me want to play Bloodborne so bad now, and I never wanted to play any Souls-like game before. So
so for me, I actually for the first little bit of Bloodborne, I fucking hated it. Well, I didn't hate it, but I liked it, but it was for me, I felt like it was really dumbed down and watered down from Dark Souls. Because but it grew on me, because I was like, okay, all right. Once I accepted that and put it to the side, then it all the stuff Kai said, kind of came into effect. Because it was a bit disappointing, because
you locked in.
In Dark Souls and Elden Ring and stuff, you're used to I see an enemy, he's wearing stuff and has what I can get that stuff, because but not in this game. You have a set amount of items, a set amount of weapons. You have
seems simpler.
You have one upgrade path for all the weapons. There's not different Titanite shards and things like that. And I love all that.
So linear?
Shit.
It's more linear.
A bit it's less obscure. It's very clear what you need to do. It's very straightforward.
I personally would like that. Maybe I will like Bloodborne.
Once you kind of accept that part of it, it's fantastic, and the art style is great. I think it's probably the best art style they've done cohesively.
Yeah, I really like that art style a lot. It looks better than Elden Ring to me, in my opinion. But
well, Elden Ring has parts of it that are just Bloodborne, artistically. Yeah. There's parts in Elden Ring. Again, there's parts that are just Dark Souls. Again, they kind of wove all of it together. The only thing that really isn't in Elden Ring very much is Sekiro. Sekiro is such a unique thing.
You got the jumping.
Yeah, you can jump. That's about it. You can jump. We took the jump, and it's not even as good. But I started out kind of in a rough spot with Bloodborne where I was kind of not feeling it, but by the end of it, and through like 2
You were there.
playthroughs of it, yeah, I was there with it.
So the
It is
forest
not,
and the trees.
yeah, it's not the most played. That's probably Dark Souls 1 and Elden Ring for me. From soft game, but it's up there because I did play it through twice, and I only played Dark Souls 2 and 3 through once. So.
Wow.
And Sekiro once, I only played Sekiro through once. Once I beat that final boss, I was like, I am not doing this again. And just never went back to it. But Sekiro is probably my least favorite Souls game. Like everyone like talks about it as like it's on a lot of people's like number 1 list, but like it's probably my least favorite one. I liked it well enough, but it was too big of a departure for me.
Yeah. I do like it for what it is. And
Yeah, it's fine.
before Elden Ring, it actually had more of a story than all the other games put together, or like actually like cohesively being told to you. But I mean, you still like you still had like the FromSoft Souls like storytelling through items and all of that.
Yeah.
And I did like it took me a while to get used to just how the combat worked in that game, but I did like that they removed the stamina bar and you don't have to worry about that. And it did kind of suck also that you were basically stuck with just one weapon and you had to worry. You really got like ninja or like samurai tools from your samurai arm. But yeah. Bloodborne though, yeah. I didn't really like it at first. It was a very big learning curve for the sheer fact of like the combat was different because Dark Souls was very defensive, and Bloodborne you have to be offensive and really really
you look like
yeah.
So a lot of defensive attacks.
That didn't really bother me so much as again I felt like it was just dumbed down because I love the obscure shit about Dark Souls. I even feel like Elden Ring is a little too dumbed down from like what Dark Souls was.
It's the most accessible.
Yeah, I love like the obscure shit. I loved in Dark Souls 1 how you couldn't even like upgrade weapons if you didn't like go through like these crazy hoops, and read items.
And
like it was
that ember and
it was
that shit would piss me off.
Insane. There was only certain blacksmiths you could upgrade certain weapons at, and like you're sitting there wondering why
me.
I love that shit, and
and
you
can
really miss me with that
as well.
Yeah, and they really dumbed it down for like past Dark Souls 3. Even Dark Souls 3 was kind of getting there. But Bloodborne and Elden Ring. Although they brought a lot of it back.
The iPhone of Souls likes, huh?
They brought a lot of it
dumbed down UI.
They brought a lot of it back for Elden Ring, but not quite to that level. But Bloodborne is very straight. The upgrade paths are very straightforward. It's very clear what you need. The weapons are very clear. There's some obscure stuff, some weapons and armor and stuff that's kind of hard to find. But I mean,
and there's secrets. Like the biggest secret in that game is like Canehurst. Like that. Like it's a very snowy place in a very big old castle. Big castle.
Yeah.
Just like out of all of the Souls-like games, though, this sounds like the one that I would actually want to play. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I didn't even think. I'm going to now. Now that you sold me on it. I mean, I can emulate it.
Nice.
So I mean, I'll give it a shot. Absolutely. And I got it. You can map it to a controller. Or you're using mouse and keyboard for yours.
Dude, I fucking use a PS4 controller.
Oh yeah, you play From Software games with controller. Like don't.
I don't have a PS4 controller, but my PS5 controller should be able to handle it.
Or Xbox controller.
Actually, that is one really weird thing that the emulator doesn't do well. It does not work with a PS5 controller.
So probably not an Xbox One either, right?
No, you can use an Xbox controller. That's the weird thing.
Okay.
You can use an Xbox One controller or a PS4.
Because Xbox controller drivers are just like that's so out hilarious. There. Anything can,
Yeah.
That
so
sucks.
I would
okay.
Yeah, I would just use an Xbox controller then for sure.
I mean, I have Xbox controllers. That's fine.
Yeah,
I never owned a PS4. I've never owned a PS4, so I've never had a PS4 controller. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I the last generation I completely kind of skipped out on. I went from Xbox 360 straight to Nintendo Switch and then to Xbox Series. I mean, I did buy an Xbox One and I fucking hated it so much that I literally I destroyed it. I didn't like it. Every time I turned on the system, it was slow as shit. I always needed like 8 hours of updates. was just the most. It was just the worst thing ever. I was like, yo, fuck this generation. I just never bought another console in that generation.
Damn.
So.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you.
Yeah, don't ever play a From Software game on mouse and keyboard. Like it's
yeah, no, I
like
wouldn't. I
worst
prefer
thing.
nowadays to play everything on controller. Now I've invested thousands of dollars in controllers. So
like I've invested a lot of money in my mouse and keyboard, and I believe they have their place. From Software games or not.
Oh yeah, I only use mechanical keyboards and shit with like yellow switches and stuff. But I wouldn't play a majority of my games on mouse and keyboard anymore. So
yeah, well again, from soft games or even just like Souls-like games. Nah, bro. It's controller. You got to use a controller.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know somebody actually does play mouse and keyboard with Souls games, but I'm like, dude, how can you fucking do that?
Well, I know some people are committed to the grind. I've seen someone do it with a Guitar Hero controller, so that doesn't mean it's a good idea. You know, like it doesn't mean just because you can do something. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. That's the Jeff Goldblum quote.
True. Yeah.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. But
life will find a way. Gamers will find a way to emulate Bloodborne.
That's right.
If Sony won't do it,
they'll do it.
We will. I don't know how to do a Jeff Goldblum impression. I haven't seen Jeff Goldblum in movies lately.
All that being said, I do have this occasional weird hankering to play Sekiro again. Like, even though it's my least favorite one.
That game always piqued my interest, but everyone's like, it's way too hard. Don't even try. So I never even gave it a shot.
It is difficult, but here's the great thing about that game. Again, there's no stamina bar. The whole thing is it's about parrying.
Parrying, yeah.
And what's awesome is that you can just sit there and just spam that parry button, dude, and you'll eventually get something.
It's not quite that easy. It's not quite that easy.
But you can press the parry button.
You can, yeah. I mean, the parry helps you. Like I do like, yeah. I'll say this: it is the hardest Souls game. Like without a doubt.
Yeah. It is the hardest one. I'll watch other people play that on their streams.
I've played all of From Software because I don't play We Have Souls at Home games. But
wow, this bougie attitude, bro.
Yeah, of the From Software Souls games, Sekiro is definitely the hardest one. It's definitely the hardest one.
It's very difficult. It's a very big learning curve. But once you get it, though, it can be great. Like, because the second time I played through it, I actually did quite a bit of sequence breaking, which was pretty interesting. And you can do that in the game, like you're not supposed to. Like that game, when it comes to like linearity, that's their game of like linear as fuck. In all honesty. But you can sequence breaks it if you go to the right ways. Because like there's literally one area you get to by a leap of faith, and you don't have to have like any you don't have to have like any special item or anything. If you know where to go, you can just go there.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's one of them get good games though. Like in every other Souls game, you can over level, you can find items, you can like cheese bosses with different items. No, in this game, you have your sword, and you have like some smoke bombs that you can like throw at things, and like that's it. Cool. Yeah,
they're not super effective.
Tony Stark built this in a garage with a bunch of scraps, kind of thing.
You'll never use them. Yeah, and
they're very situational.
Yeah,
comes down to it. Yeah,
the grapple looks fun though. That's
the grappling round's really cool.
Yeah, it's basically like the Tenchu game that we never got. So,
ooh, true.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, kind of, but like infinitely harder. So,
yeah,
there's a gorilla that you will hate a lot.
Oh,
by the end of it.
Yeah, that guy sucks. He literally throws shit at you.
Back. Yeah, he literally throws shit at you.
That's
and
one of his
coming
moves.
Back. You chop his head off, and he fights you headless, and it's. You know what? Maybe I don't want to go back.
Actually, it's PTSD.
I ran the gauntlet once. Yeah, I ran the gauntlet.
So it's funny you bring it up, Villain. With again, that sequence breaking I told you about. Yeah, that you're talking about the Immortal Ape coming back. Yeah, no, you can actually go there before it happens. He not there, but there's blood on the wall.
He not there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So again, there's some pretty cool sequence breaking you can do in Sekiro.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
If one of you guys do that on stream, I will definitely watch the entire thing.
There's a lot. Well, there's a lot coming out. I don't know if I'll have time to indulge in some random Sekiro playing, but I may. I mean, we'll see. Let's see what it brings.
I played it 1.5 times. Like I basically got to the end, my second playthrough.
And how many times did you beat the ending of Wukong and get the real ending?
I still haven't beaten it second time. I only beat it the one.
I thought you got all the endings. You didn't get I thought you didn't get the true ending. I thought you did.
No, I was streaming it, but that game too powerful.
Really? For the PC, because I was about to say I heard Wukong. I heard Wukong was like infinitely easier than like any Souls game.
Like I mean, it has its moments with being challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, that game is just I couldn't stream it and play it at the same time. It just my computer did not want to do it.
I got you.
That's why I didn't stream it myself. I have a 3070 and I can run the game without streaming and I can play it at like a solid 60 FPS or whatever, 1080. But like if I actually want to stream it, all of a sudden I start getting like major dips. So I'm gonna stream it now that I have it on PS5, so I can just use my capture card.
Oh yeah, I mean if I really want to, I guess I could buy the game again. But I don't want to do that.
I mean, I bought it. I double dipped. But you know what? Like you said before, I did that because I am supporting the developer. That's the only reason. That's in my mind why I justified it. I didn't really have the money to buy it twice, but it's a physical copy. The entire game's on the disc. It's like a full 90 gigs on that disc.
Oh, nice.
So that's kind of cool too. Which is kind of like the purest if you're a collector and you don't want just a disc that's basically a license key to go download it off their servers. You actually want even Rebirth. Kudos to Square. I know you have your issues with Square Enix. I know, but Rebirth is also fully on the discs as well. So that's really cool.
Good on Square. Like they do some good sometimes, but I don't. I've not been.
I'm gonna give them credit where credit's due, though, and I think that was really cool that they did that for the physical collectors, actually putting the full game on the disc. So
yeah, that's good.
I love how I'm like flying under the radar as a Square hater because like I can't think of. There's only like 2 Square games that I can think of that are worth a damn at all, and that is Deus Ex 1 and Deus Ex 2. And I can't think of any other Square game that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, the reboots. Yeah, the reboots. Okay. Yeah. I haven't played the originals, but the Human Revolution is one of my favorite games of all time. That's not really good
things about it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games. It's so good. Mankind Divided was really good too. It was incomplete though because they were going to do a trilogy and Square killed it because they're the worst company. But they published it. They didn't even make it. They published. That was an Eidos game, but.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't think of a single Square game though that I've enjoyed. So
Square has some of the best games ever.
They do,
not to me,
but not in.
I've played most of them. I've played most of them, and I don't like any. I don't like Final Fantasy. Like it's not my thing. I played 16 all the way through and disliked
16
it.
is not even really a fucking Final Fantasy as far
as.
But
I've tried. I've played, or I've tried. I don't want to say beaten, but I've tried 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 7, 8, 10, 10, 2, 15, 13, and 16. Yeah, I've tried all of those.
1 through 10 are good.
I disliked all of them. And
wow, okay.
That's crazy.
I just couldn't get into them. Like they're fine. Like number 1 for the OG Final Fantasy games, I hate random encounters. I think random encounters suck ass. I hate them so much.
Wait until you play Dragon's Quest.
So I can't. I won't play Dragon's Quest. I've tried Dragon Quest. 11.
It is the most empty
I didn't like
of RPGs.
I will say this. I did like Dragon Quest Builders 2. I played that with an ex-girlfriend of mine.
That's like Minecraft.
I know. I played that with an ex-girlfriend of mine. It was a fun time.
That is a good game, though.
We had a great time. We had a great time co-op. It was a fun time. Let me see real quick what else Square has done. Now I like their published stuff. Again, Deus Ex. That's probably about it. But yeah, in terms. So again, I just think it's funny that Kai gets like all this like reputation as the Square hater.
He's a Square fan. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, and
I
and
didn't
he
realize.
actually enjoys their games, and I hate all of their games except for
Yeah, you basically like enjoy none of them.
yeah.
That's
Like I
funny.
think Final Fantasy. If we had a topic about the most overrated game series, Final Fantasy would be like
Final
probably
Fantasy is getting into the territory of being
It would
extreme,
be-
although
it would be
That's
number
why I
2
think-
on my list. Number 1 would be Uncharted, but
yeah, I do agree that Final Fantasy is becoming a very overhyped franchise, but I think now with some of the directions that Square Enix is going, they're going to be, according to what I've seen and what I've been reading about the direction the company wants to go, and they want to go more multi-platform and less exclusive on the PlayStation, because their sales are suffering. You know, Rebirth would have done so much better if it launched, across platforms on day one. Thankfully, they're making some of their money back by just releasing it on PC now, but that exclusive shit ain't working for them. They need to get these games on Nintendo Switch, which is going to happen. Square's going to finally make some money, and they're going to make some good stuff again. But like Live Alive, Octopath Traveler 2. First of all, Live Alive is a remake, and that remake was absolutely fucking phenomenal. And then Octopath Traveler 2 is probably the best HD 2D JRPG I've ever played in my entire life. It's a masterpiece of a game. So
I played the demo until I realized there were random encounters, and I just couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, it's all random encounters because it's just a classic thing.
Yeah.
The random encounters in Octopath are not like they're not to the point where you'd be like, okay, it's like gonna break your immersion or hurt the gameplay. Whereas like Dragon Quest is just nothing but grinding. You can easily spend 30 hours grinding in that game with random encounters. So
I'm looking through the list of their games.
it's not looking good for Square.
I don't like Kingdom Hearts. I will say
Kingdom
this.
Hearts either.
I will say this, and I'm gonna get some eye rolls and laughs probably, but they didn't make this. They published. Yeah, it's probably a hot take on this panel anyway, but they published it. They didn't make it, but I actually really enjoyed the first 2 Life is Strange games. So
I never played the first.
in my opinion, they're the second best thing that Square's ever done.
Wow.
I would
behind Deus Ex, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say that.
Based on
That's
this
a little
list I'm
wild.
looking at, on my experience, it's Deus Ex and the first 2 Life is Strange games.
Wow. Okay. Bold statement from
Yes.
Dylan there.
Yeah. I will say
That's a lot of
I had when I was a kid, I had Final Fantasy 4 on the 3DS or DS. One of those.
Yep.
One of those.
That was actually that was like the semi 3D one they made, right? That was
Yeah.
actually really good.
And I kind of enjoyed that one. Okay.
The DS remakes, those little
I
DS
didn't-
remakes of the first couple of Final Fantasies were so good on the DS.
Yeah,
So
I just
good.
got so the random encounter. I just got so annoyed by it. Like it broke me every time.
Yeah,
but
I love random encounters.
The RPGs for the most part for a really long time. Like they saw, they had some where you had like you saw the enemies and then you went into the battle.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they
Chrono
went with
Trigger.
random battles.
Yeah. Well, and then as I got older, as the Final Fantasy.
Did you play Chrono Trigger, Villain?
I did. I tried Chrono Trigger. I didn't like Chrono Trigger either.
Wow.
That's crazy. It doesn't have random encounters, so
Yeah, then we get into like I think the stories are bad in like a lot of Final Fantasy games.
Chrono Trigger is like
and so, well, to be fair with Chrono Trigger, I was borrowing it from a friend and had to give it back, and just was never like into it enough to like seek it out again. So I swapped him. What did I? It's not important.
Did you play it on DS?
It was a handheld. I played it on. I don't remember which handheld it was on.
It's probably DS.
Yeah, it was on a handheld, and I traded him. Again, it doesn't matter. I traded him something for it for a weekend, and then we had to give it back. You know, your kids, you swap back on Monday or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't really enjoy it enough to like seek it out and like ask for it for Christmas or anything. I was like, that was okay, I guess. But
Chrono Trigger was like the first game I ever played like 5 times.
Yeah,
back
but
to
then
back
like
to get the different endings and shit.
People love it, and I don't have that
The
exposure.
story
to
is
it,
so,
really.
especially for the time that it came out, it still holds up to this day. The story in that game is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, people like it, and that's fine. I never really had that. you know.
Yeah,
and again,
Chrono
it's one of
Trigger
those.
is
And
one of those
at this
games,
point, it is one of those like for the time games. It's why I have a hard time recommending KOTOR to people, because KOTOR is one of my favorite games of all time. But these days, it's hard to recommend to people because it is dated as fuck. I'll go back and play it. So it's one of the things where unless they like remake it or something, I probably won't.
It's one of the reasons why that I am really embrace the whole HD 2D genres, because to me, even though like Chrono Trigger is a dated game, those graphics are still good. Like they can be enhanced with modern, visuals and effects. So if you look Octopath Traveler just looks so good. It's just such a beautiful game in its own element, in its own art form. It's just so good. I think that needs to be preserved. So I mean, that's why I really, really kind of go hard in the paint for the HD 2D stuff. But
well, if they do
to this day, it holds up really well.
I mean, if they do a remake, maybe that'll be the Square game. Maybe I'll give it a shot.
Unfortunately, I don't think that Akira Toriyama's gone.
Maybe there'll be that'll be the Square game, because I try them. I've tried a lot of them, and I can't get into the like. I think the stories are lame, and a lot of them. They're real tropey. Like I'm just not. I mean, they're tropey things I like and enjoy, but that's just not one of them. I'm more of an Atlas
to be
guy.
Fair, yeah,
I like Atlas RPGs.
Yeah, that's
but only
that's
recently.
Fair.
But only recently. Past 5 years.
Nothing was ever done like that story though in 1996, where
that's fine. Like for the time shit,
traveling, but like. Even to this day, in terms of like writing and stuff, like that story does still kind of hold up compared to a lot of the stuff that we get now.
It holds up.
EA putting out a game that obviously didn't resonate well story wise with people. So, it's just it's to me it's a timeless classic. I definitely recommend you go through another playthrough with it. You could probably bang it out in like 20 hours. It's not a long game. I think you can beat it in less than 30 hours, easy.
You can.
Like if you long weekend, you could beat this game. So
and again, since it has like so many endings, you have it also brought in New Game Plus.
That was a new game. That was a new thing. That was a new thing. Chrono Trigger did it first. Yes, you're 100% correct on that. I was actually going to bring that up. We brought that up at the same time.
That was an innovation they did.
Yeah, that was actually because it was actually a game that they wanted you to fucking replay over and over again, and that New Game Plus was like, ooh, wait a second, yeah, I'll do that.
The New Game,
and then you get all those endings.
Yeah, it's only $14 on Steam.
Glenn looks just like Vegeta with green hair when he turns back into a human in one of the endings. The DS was great because like in the Super Nintendo days, we didn't have cutscenes; it was all just implied
like
and
still frames.
Not even still frames, like barely anything. PlayStation, with the Final Fantasy Anthology series, they actually released Chrono Trigger with the cutscenes, and then DS was the more definitive edition because I think the DS I might be wrong about this, has some extra endings and it has like a whole dungeon. Yeah, it has the second screen UI, which allows you to do a bunch of cool stuff too. So.
Yeah. The version that's on Steam, it also has all the cutscenes from the PS1, which is really nice, and they've actually been updated or up-resed a little bit, which is nice to see. And I think they have the 2 extra endings that came from the DS. I don't remember, but yeah,
it was okay. I hope so. $14. It's crazy that they charge $14 for it in 2025, but I would pay it. I would pay it.
Well, if this is the game y'all are putting forward is the one Square Enix game I might like,
I might give it a shot. You like set the bar. You're like every game they've ever came out with was ass.
Well, every game I've played, I gave you the list, and it's pretty much most of the Final Fantasy games. I'm looking at the list. I mean, you have like Forspoken. You have like, I mean, what do you want?
Forspoken, Dad. I forgot that game existed. Thank you for reminding me.
I would rank Square Enix as like one of the lowest publishers in my personal opinion. And they shut down Deus Ex, which will forever be a sin in my opinion. So
yeah, it's a mark against them for sure.
Shit now, man,
it's a death knell.
Yeah.
Embracer Group owns.
They shut it down, then sold them off, and then Embracer Group shut it down too. So fuck them as well.
Oh,
Ooh.
fuck. Well, at least Quake Grief gave me some hope for Soul Reaver. So
like, I mean, I'm much more like in the Atlas camp and Sega, like that type of shit. Like, I'm really enjoying like the Yakuza games as I play through that. Like, I still got to do Infinite Wealth. I really liked Like a Dragon.
Sega and Atlas has made really big strides. I'm very proud of them.
Yeah, Ryu guy. I loved Judgment and Lost Judgment. I thought those games are fucking phenomenal. So I mean, like, I think my loyalties are just in a different camp.
Yeah, I don't have any loyalty to Square at all. I do appreciate what they've had, but yeah,
loyalty is strong. It's a strong word.
You probably could word it better than I was. Anyway.
My tastes are in a different camp. I'll say.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, it's not like I don't like anything. I don't like anything from Atlas. They make a lot of good stuff, and they publish a lot of good stuff throughout the years.
Yeah,
and again, I liked stuff. Past tense. I liked stuff that's weird for a long time.
Same.
But they've changed for a lot of their design choices and stuff. And again, I feel like they're struggling to find how to make action RPGs fun.
I agree on that.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, that's why I'm very curious to see how Expedition 33 is going to turn out with the battle system. Because I hope Square can look at that and maybe borrow some inspiration. So.
That game looks.
They're making that game. I thought it was someone else. That game looks.
No. They're not.
I want to hear more things.
It's a French company. Yeah.
Oh, it's French. Oh.
Someone said that on one of my Twitter posts that Ubisoft, like the good developers from Ubisoft, went to that studio.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. I don't think there are any good developers from Ubisoft. Anyway, that might be bad. Ubisoft is also
Ubisoft employees. That's already bad.
Yeah, Ubisoft is like just above Square Enix on my list of companies. Like, they're right there above Square Enix. Maybe like the next one up, because I at least enjoyed like Splinter Cell back in the day.
At least Square is still getting games nominated for Game of the Year. I mean, there's still a few rungs higher than Ubisoft. Let's be honest.
I mean.
Well, I'm talking like all timers. Like, I mean, again, the games I like from Square they didn't even make. So Ubisoft, like that. There's a list of Ubisoft games that I enjoy, or have enjoyed.
Ubisoft used to be respected, yeah.
So if I'm ranking shit, we're
gonna have to make a tier list one of these episodes now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to come prepared with our own, evergreen topics, absolutely. Yeah. But we are running towards 3.5 hours, guys. Just so you know, I just want to let you guys know.
I've been
we need to probably wrap it up soon.
So I mean, I've just been here for the ride, man. Just been waiting until someone says we got.
We started the Square Enix slander, and it went off the cliff. So y'all hold on.
I know we could talk about that shit for days, but let's kind of just put a bow on everything and try to wrap all of this up. So let's basically kind of just do a quick little recap here. So Nintendo Switch 2, we're all buying it. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get a nice, probably 40-minute long direct, even longer maybe in April. Maybe we'll find out more about all these crazy new features, but in the meantime, I'm sure we'll fill in the gaps over the next couple of months on the podcast. As far as Villain, you have any final words or anything in terms of like what you think's going to happen in the industry in the next couple of months, if not the rest of the year?
In the industry, I mean, it's the kind of stuff we've already talked about. I mean, Switch 2 is going to kind of dominate the news cycle for a while. It's going to kind of all revolve around that. You think Switch 2 is going to go with the $70 price point for all their new games? Because they did it with Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, they will. Yeah, their games will be $70. You'll see a lot of companies supporting it. I mean, people are talking Xbox. I think you'll probably see some Sony games on there maybe as well. I think that all that's going to die when Grand Theft Auto starts showing. Then it's going to move from the Switch to like GTA, and then they'll just dominate the second half of the year, and that's what we'll be talking about. So, I think that's
the only game that I definitely think is not going to be on the Switch is obviously GTA 6.
And I think that when you get to the Game of the Year awards, it's going to be all Grand Theft Auto and whatever like new game Nintendo has.
Probably
whatever game with Mario in it that Nintendo made for $300.
Mario Odyssey 2,
probably fair.
If they do that. I doubt they will, but
So
we'll see. We'll have to wait and see what Nintendo has in store for everybody. But yeah, and Kai, what you have any final words on emulation, other projects, anything like that?
Not too much. Just like how we've talked about though, but just to give more emphasis on like what's so great about emulation. It's not just that like you can play something on the PC. It's a really important thing just to exist for game preservation, because so many companies out there don't give enough or care about enough about game preservation. As you mentioned earlier, games are art, and it's a shame that a lot of that stuff gets cast to the wayside. And here's another thing, like past emulation, there are things that are known as abandonware at this point. Games that just are in the ether that aren't really owned by anyone and nobody wants to do anything with, and you can't even buy anywhere. So when it comes to stuff like that, if you can find a game that's considered abandonware, if the internet exists, go find it and play it, because technically it isn't illegal once it's abandonware.
Yeah, my father considers me abandonware. So
oh my god, what a way to end that! My god,
have a good night, everyone.
In a garbage can.
Wow. Well, yeah. On that note. I think
I quit. Go ahead.
That was a very good episode. I think that's all we have for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. It meant so much to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna try to include the community more in the future episodes. We're gonna try to see if we can get more chat interaction and stuff like that. We're working on it, guys. We really appreciate your patience with us. We're still trying to create a better podcast every time we come out and we do this for you guys. Running on almost 3.5 hours for this show. It meant a lot that everyone came out. I hope you guys like the topics. Please, on the VOD that we upload on the channel, make sure you guys at least put some comments on there. Let us know what you think about the video, what we could do better. Just anything will do. Anything will help us get better as we go along doing this. And before we sign off for the night, just want to make sure both of you guys have an opportunity to plug your socials and everything. So, Kai, if you want to just lead off and just where can people find you?
You can always find me at Kainetsu most of anything. Mostly working on YouTube at this point for things of content. You can find me on Twitch as well at Kainetsu, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. You'll find me.
All right. And
Nice.
Villain, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, True Villain on Twitch and The True Villain on X.
All right,
simple.
let's go. All right, so I appreciate everybody, and I really appreciate my co-host for spending this 3.5 hours together and talking about the chewing the fat on the most important topics of our time. So with that being said, have a great night, everyone. We're signing off. The People's Champions, Cicadas, signing out. Take it easy.
SPOTEMGANG, we rollin' deep, digital streets, gifted subs, bitch, raining heavy like beast. Got that Twitch game locked, homies reaching elite. Shout out